6:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL news yesterday, the Raiders and the Seahawks Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak officially agreed to terms yesterday to be their next head coach. Now, all 10 head coaching vacancies across the NFL have now been filled. Also, Browns tight end David Njoku, set to be a free agent this offseason, announced on his social media yesterday that he will not be returning to Cleveland in 2026. Njoku was a first-round draft pick back in 2017, and he has 4,062 receiving yards and 34 touchdowns on 384 receptions in his 9 seasons. In college hoops last night, Number 9, Kansas, they took down undefeated and number 1 ranked Arizona, 82-78. Flory Badunga and Melvin Council Jr. each had 23 points, leading Kansas to the win. Also in college hoops, per multiple reports, Tuscaloosa County Circuit Court judge ruled yesterday against former pro in Alabama forward Charles Bediako. He has been denied a preliminary injunction against the NCAA. Bediako will no longer be eligible to play for Alabama this season. And tonight, number 19, Vanderbilt, they take on Auburn for a 6 p.m. tilt in the Plains at Neville Arena. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USST.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go in a Tuesday morning on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome in. Good morning. This is Ramon and Will. He's Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is our producer, and I'm Will Bowling. You follow the show and stream us on Twitter at Ramon and Will. 104.5 The Zone TV, live on Facebook Live, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. 615-737-1045, the number. A monumental day in Nashville and in this studio because I am wearing shorts and a short-sleeve collared shirt, Ramon. Going to be a gorgeous day in the Music City. Good morning.
Yes, I wore, this is a big hockey jersey, but it's light, and I was planning for the, what's the number of degrees will be today? We'll be in the
70s.
Yeah. And I'm hugely a winter fan. I love cold weather.
Makes one of us.
I know. I'm over it. I'm good. We can go ahead and kind of speed up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A couple of outdoor sports will be available. Baseball is, first pitch is coming up real soon in a lot of SEC stadiums. We got training camp right now for MLB as well.
Quite.
They're not locked in yet.
Week away.
Oh, man.
Usually President's Day.
Usually President's Day.
When pitchers and catchers get down there.
I was looking at, I think Division II baseball has already started playing as well. I saw Carson Newman playing somebody, Charleston. That's who it was. Carson Newman and Charleston that were playing each other. They started up, I think, January 28th or 30th.
Okay.
And, Will, it was snowing. I'm talking about full-fledged snowing outside, and they had to get it in. It was crazy.
Looks like actually a lot of teams report today. So there you go.
There we go.
Pitchers and catchers.
I figured it was a few days after the Super Bowl or whatever.
Usually is.
They're not going to battle the NFL or MLB.
Usually is. That's right. That's right. How did we spend our first day fully without football yesterday?
Basketball.
Okay.
That's what I watched on television. Yeah, that and the Olympics. Curling was intense last night for Team USA.
It was very intense.
Yeah.
Big upset.
I had no idea curling was so serious, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I looked it up, and that's a sport also you do for the love. There's not much. There's not much endorsements or money behind that.
Oh, no, yeah. Winter Olympics especially, you're doing it for the love of the game.
Other than like snowboarding, half pipe, and stuff like that, maybe because it was a Shaun White years ago became
Flying
a
tomato.
star. Yeah,
well, that's where all the sponsorships really go to, like Red Bull, and Monster, and all that. They gravitate toward those like high caliber, high intensity sports like that. Curling. I don't know.
Yeah. What is the downhill long jump or whatever?
That's most of the Olympics you just described. Yeah.
Yeah. The ski jump.
The ski jump. I'm watching that last night, Will. I'm
fun.
Passively watching. It is. It is so fun to watch. And then you start thinking about it like when they leave that ramp, these people are flying through the air with no net.
Oh, yeah.
And just skis on.
Yeah.
And the margin of risk is death in these type of situations, man.
There's no risk of death in curling.
No, there's not.
Unless somebody, I guess, takes the sharp side of one of those brooms and
the indoor speed skating was intense last night as well.
We'll do an Olympic minute coming up here in hour one.
Let's do it.
Love the
Start making that a thing here over the next couple of weeks.
And we should like you said it yesterday. We should talk about it like regular Joes. That way, it's way more entertaining.
Well, speaking of regular Joes, Charles Bediako is one of those now.
Ooh.
Denied an injunction by the NCAA and a Tuscaloosa County judge ruling yesterday, and his college career is finally over. Mm-hmm. You never know, but it actually is finally over. Tuscaloosa County Circuit Court Judge Daniel Pruitt ruled against Charles Bediako in his eligibility case versus the NCAA. After Friday morning's injunction hearing, he was seeking preliminary and permanent injunctive relief after the NCAA previously ruled the former G League player ineligible to return to college basketball last month. This week alone, it is the first of many battles the NCAA and attorney Taylor Askew have to fight. The Diego Pavia class action suit on behalf of ex-JUCO players is today, and then separate suits involving Trinidad Chambliss and Joey Aguilar are Thursday and Friday. Big win for the NCAA. Ramon, the next question is, how does this impact the other three fights that the NCAA is involved in?
The football side of it is going to be fascinating. Like, Bediako's kind of made sense in a lot of different ways because he went pro and came back. Like, you look at, I guess, the guys that are in the Diego Pavia lawsuits, like some of these guys are waiting in the wind to see if they go, like Trinidad Chambliss and also Joey Aguilar. They never declared pro per se, and they just chose to fight the case. Now, they are behind the 8 ball when it comes to pre-draft prep if those guys' cases don't go through. But when you look at what Charlie Baker, the NCAA president, had to say about this Bediako's ruling, He said, upheld the rules of our members. Okay, that's number one. I think the parting shot for what everybody's looking for, and I think we all are in this conversation. We're all can agree with him, and it's rare, I guess, as of late, we're agreeing with anything that the NCAA is saying. But Charlie Baker goes on to say, common sense won a round today. I think the uproar that everybody had or the mockery that we made of what Alabama was doing or just the concept that a former pro, whether he's in a G League, practice squad, or the NBA, came back to college to play with college kids in the middle of the semester. That right there is, I'm with Charlie Baker. The common sense says that shouldn't be allowed. That to me is where I feel like the goalpost is going to be moved so much, and guys are going to have different cases, and coaches want to win, and players want to earn money, and everything that's involved with it. I will say, as far as Bediako goes, too, like the embarrassment that somewhat stuck with him now as well. Like, bro, just go overseas. Like that used to be the pathway for guys like him.
100%.
Like, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's really good money in that.
Those dudes earn well, like you get life experience, and maybe he don't, he's a homebody. He don't want to go outside of the country, but I'm with Charlie Baker, the NCAA president, on this one. Common sense says you served your time.
Full statement from Charlie Baker says this, quote, common sense won a round today. The court saw this for what it was, or what it is. An attempt by professionals to pivot back to college and crowd out the next generation of students. College sports are for students, not for people who already walked away to go pro and now want to hit the undo button at the expense of a teenager's dream. While we're glad the court upheld the rules our members actually want, one win doesn't fix the national mess of state laws. It's time for Congress to stop watching from the sidelines and help us provide some actual stability.
Charlie kind of cooked right there in that statement.
Well, we're going to see. I mean, the NCAA certainly wants to frame this as a larger standard-setting victory. Yeah. I'm not sure that it is. And what I'm positive of is that a Tuscaloosa County judge is not going to think through these things in the exact same way as a Knox County judge or as an Oxford, whatever it is, county or city or whatever the heck they got going on down there. Like, right. That is the problem in this, is that regionalizing the jurisdiction of local courts to make rulings on behalf of college sports. It's obviously not what's best for the sport. I'm not sure it's best for Congress to get involved either, though.
Yeah, that right there is where it becomes, I think it gets even more messy because you start probably incorporating other rules and laws that probably are overdoing the process when you put government inside of it as well. I think also when Charlie Baker probably stepped on his tongue just a little bit with this as well in this decision, because I feel like this is very specific to one sector of what they're trying to prevent, and that's former pros coming back.
Yeah,
like
that would have opened Pandora's box in a really dangerous way for sports.
But the other cases are guys that haven't declared. Like, I don't think
Totally
Diego Pavia is threatening to come back to college. You know what I'm saying?
He is not, but the members of his class action suit are.
Yeah, exactly. So that to me is where there's one victory, but I honestly don't know if he's going to get two moving forward, especially on a state-to-state level, and how Knoxville will rule, how Oxford, Mississippi will rule, and every other city that's trying to get a player extra year or two. Everybody's had their take, and I feel like everybody's aligned in the same direction as to what they want college sports to look like. I agree with him. There's an umbrella. Well, I'll say this. I think a good bit of the fan base would much rather see high school players develop in the old ways, per se, of letting young amateurs get their opportunities to play. I don't think anybody really want to see a 25 to 27-year-old playing college sports.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it when Hendon Hooker was doing it.
Yeah. But again, now we see how flooded the market is. And again, Tennessee's always on the forefront of these type of actions of allowing this to happen. I mean, if it's not the NIL with Nico, it's extra years of eligibility.
Yeah, I don't know if Vandy fans cared how old Diego Pavia was this year. They just know that they had a historic season. When it's your team that's benefiting from it, I don't think people really care. I think this was a unique circumstance because it's someone that had gone pro and tried to come back and got bad advice, acted on that bad advice, and tried to erase a mistake that was made. Whether that or not, it was his mistake to say he went to the NBA or not. A mistake was made. Yeah. Whether it was someone who told him to, or he got bad advice, or an agent persuaded him, or what have you. But this situation is over. Now we'll see how it impacts the others. I'm not sure it really has much of a ripple effect at all on Joey Aguilar. I will say this, though. For the NCAA to win anything in court is a change from the way things have been for the past few years. And since NIL started to be litigated in courts, it's a little bit insignificant, but I think it's something. The fact that the NCAA's got a little bit of momentum with the victory in court.
I'm with you. I think it's insignificant.
But I think it's a little something.
I view this case as just like a big win, though, for them. I mean, he knows that as well, Charlie Baker and the NCAA. Yeah. I don't want to see that part. Nobody wants to see this. And it's also now he's got egg on his face, Bediako, about, G League dropout is the chant that he'll have to, have him chase forever. Whenever they do documentaries 15 years from now about this case, his face will be plastered all over it.
Imagine being a group class project with Charles Bediako right now. It's like, are you gonna come to class?
Bro, you staying?
Hey, we got you want to still meet at the library tonight?
Are you still gonna get your degree?
Big project due this week. We got to be ready.
I just remember when the degree was actually getting your college degree was actually part of the pitch as well. Not so much anymore.
Live for the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. Tuesday morning, NFL headlines on deck after this. NFL headlines to kick off your Tuesday morning on Ramon and Will at Ramon and Will, where you can follow and interact with us on Twitter. We've got a poll question for you this morning, and two votes or two options in the poll are runaway leaders right now. At Ramon and Will, how would you grade Cam Ward's rookie season? A, B, C, or D or worse? 44% of you are both saying B and C. We'll talk more about that coming up in hour number 2. 615-737-1045, the number. Clint Kubiak, Ramon, officially was named the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday, getting a 5-year contract, coming off of a Super Bowl win as the offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks. How quickly can he have success with Fernando Mendoza in Vegas?
I almost look at them. They're similarly set up the way New England was, in a sense where they got a good base and foundation. I think the offensive line might need some reworking. The defense is set. Depends on what they do with Max Crosby moving forward. But you look at the weapons that he's got in house, and they can be very they can be interesting for him. I think he's probably one wide receiver away. They can probably get that in the draft or at least in free agency as well. But you got a running back. You got what most think is going to end up being a world-class wide receiver and Brock Bowers, and you got some similarities of an offensive line held together. Colton Miller at left tackle is one of the best ones to do it, so you know his backside is going to be protected. Genty, I would expect there's a hard evaluation of his game, his tape. What did you do wrong? What does the offense needs to be able to do when it boils down to your running style? And, we got a guy that knows how to set running backs up for the running game in Clint Kubiak, considering what he did with the Seattle Seahawks this past year. His production, you mentioned Fernando Mendoza, or the expectation. I think they could almost at 500, considering they're playing the fourth-place schedule as well. Now, here's the issue. They got to play their division. That division is very spicy as well. What we've seen from Fernando Mendoza is he's very precise in his execution of his plays. Like he's
very accurate quarterback.
Yes, he's going to take care of the ball. That's where Clint Kubiak's got to be good with him, and he's dealt with a guy that's had essentially issues as far as Sam Darnold goes, and he's allowed him or helped foster the career and the year that he did in one season. So I say there's a positive outlook, Will, but I can see them being competitive with what Clint's been able to do in Seattle.
I don't know. I don't know if I see it turning around that quickly, to be honest with you. That Vegas team is just got a pretty bare cupboard on the lines of scrimmage if they don't have Max Crosby playing for them next season.
Defensively, yes.
Defensively, Malcolm Kuntz, Jonah Laulu, Adam Butler, former Vanderbilt Commodore, drafted in 2017, and Max Crosby. I mean, it's Max Crosby and the Temptations up front. And that is not a great defense. You look on the offensive line, yes, Colton Miller is there, but who else? I mean, Jackson Powers Johnson has struggled moving back and forth from center and guard. You have an older veteran in Alex Kappa at center. Okay. I mean, Dylan Parham has not really lived up to his draft expectations as a third-round pick in 2022. Out of Memphis, TJ Glaze at right tackle, probably not the answer there long term. And then a wide receiver. I'm not as high on their receivers either. I mean, Trey Tucker, Jack Besh, who I thought would have a much better rookie season, and Tyler Lockett. I mean, wide receiver one there is Brock Bowers.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm curious on Ashton Genty, Ramon, because he carried it 266 times and didn't even get 1,000 yards.
Tough.
That run game did not do him any favors up front. They could not pave any room for him. I think they are 2 years away from even being 500, considering the division they're playing in.
Yeah, now the division that they're playing in is going to be problematic. But here's the other part that you got to look at. One, they're going to have plenty of opportunities to draft. And I think the other part for me is Clint Kubiak got this job for a particular reason. Like, he's going to, I think, keep Fernando Mendoza in the pocket. They're going to find ways. I think Jackson Powers Johnson is a good offensive lineman. Settling in is going to be the issue. The same questions we've had about J.C. Latham, like let a guy settle in and figure out what he's going to turn into. Dylan Parham, in my personal opinion, I think is a very athletic guy up on that line of scrimmage. And if you're telling me this, like, for a guy that touched the ball 200-plus times, one, no weapons to actually take away or allow Ashton Jeanty to be able to run the football. There's no outside threat. There's no...
Just Brock Bowers.
Just Brock
Bowers.
Who was
hurt for a lot of the season.
Exactly. I'd expect them to bring in more weapons. The same questions and conversation we're having about the Titans. So getting to 500, yeah, that division is going to make it a whole lot worse to do it. But to project them to be a little bit more productive, if they have an ounce of production better than they did last year, I'd see 6-7 wins or something like that for them. The turnaround is a gradual process. To expect Fernando Mendoza to turn them into the Washington Commanders the way Jaden Daniels did, no, I can't see that. But as far as being able to efficiently run an offense, we're watching right now in real time, or we watched in real time. Now, I know this came with a lot of maturity, heartbreak, and just understanding. But we watched in real time Sam Darnold not fold this year when last year he did with the 3 interceptions in the playoffs that ended up knocking him out. He had his worst moments. I don't know if Sam Darnold had a worse moments streak under Clint Kubiak this past year. That's what I'm banking on as far as the efficiency of that team. Now,
he had some in the regular season. He just didn't when it mattered this time.
The weapons, though, is going to be key for San Francisco, for the Raiders. And that's where Fernando Mendoza is going to have to adjust. You got to think, to his mindset, he's coming from Indiana. Like, the grinder, work with less, this is a part of his game. The issue that Clint Kubiak is going to have is, how do you disguise Ashton Jeanty to not have over 200 reps and not 1,000 yards?
It's an offense with very different skill sets and strengths than the one that he's coming from in Seattle.
The defensive side of it, yes. That, if Max Crosby gone, then you set them back probably another 2 more years.
Well, I just think on offense, too. I mean, that offensive line we talked about with Seattle yesterday was totally homegrown.
Yeah.
Including 2 first-round picks on the left side of the line and Gray Zabel and Charles Cross. You don't have anything close to that in Vegas. You've got probably 2 out of your 5 that's pretty settled. Between Jackson Powers Johnson, you put somewhere, either again at center or at guard, and then Colton Miller at left tackle, who is a solid foundational left tackle.
No doubt. That's one good piece. Defensively is going to be their problem.
Yeah, Jamal Adams was their highest-rated linebacker on PFF last year.
Bro.
Blitz boy.
Devin
Still
White
doing it.
was on this team. I thought the world of him coming out of college.
They had the 90th ranked safety out of 91 safeties, according to PFF, in Isaiah Polamalu.
Yeah. And
Jeremy Chin's good, but other than that, not great.
And then their linebacking core, other than Jamal Adams, like I said, Devin White is a part of it, and also 32-year-old Lelandon Roberts. Like,
he's going for washed-up Steelers.
Yes,
at linebacker.
Like, I like Lelandon. He's a hard-hitting guy, but he is not at this point in his career and every down.
In the big 2026, no.
No. So
yeah, they got a lot of holes.
They got a lot of holes to fix there, man. But I'm interested to see what Mendoza turns into. Like, he's going to a tough team. And he seems to be very, like, his attitude and his personality, maybe it fits, or he can be a chameleon to almost any environment he put into. But the grit that he's going to have to play with as bad as his roster is right now, he's going to get beat to crap, man.
Would you enjoy playing with him, Fernando Mendoza, the kind of personality that he is?
If I saw that it was real, yeah. If he's that all the time.
What would it take to show you that was real? What do you mean by that?
Being around him, seeing that his attitude is the same, can he be around the guys and go out with the guys? Or is he, I hate to put it this way, but is he a goody two-shoes that's putting on? Like, I'll put it this way. There were questions, and I think it's probably authentic, about, like, Tebow. Was Tebow really like that? Not his faith or anything, but just, is he always happy-go-lucky? And even in the moments of him doing the rah-rah speeches, how real is that? How real is it for the cameras? Like, I've seen even some of my teammates flip the script whenever you put the cameras on and they got in front of people, and we just kind of side-eyed those guys. And to me, it seems as if Fernando Mendoza has it together. His teammates loved him, but here's the other part. It's easy to love a guy when you're winning, and they won a ton in Indiana. I've heard that it was real with him. So we'll see how far the draft process goes. I'm sure what's going to be interesting, when you come off as too nice, people question that.
That's true.
Are you competitive enough? Like, what happens if you get punched in the mouth? Will you punch somebody back? That's where I think it will be important, Will, for him to have a group of goons around him on that offensive line so that he's not mistaken for a nice guy.
I can just hear you saying one thing.
Go outside, nerd.
I can just hear you saying that.
Listen, if it's my quarterback.
If he's not living up to what you think he's going to, that's what you're going to say.
But I feel like his pathway and adversity he's dealt with, I would remove that. I would just need to see the authenticity of who he is as a human being. And I think most people have to have that walking into a locker room, especially when you're perceived to be a nice guy. Like, he said 4-letter words and curse on TV in his broadcast and stuff like that, but it becomes very bubblegum, like listening to him talk from time to time.
Sure. Super Bowl odds are wide open for the upcoming season. I care less about who is at the top right now, considering the player acquisition cycle hasn't really started in terms of strengthening teams. But I do think there's an interesting trend going on here, Ramon, because there is not a clear favorite. And this is kind of an unprecedented amount of even playing field when we look at the teams that are favored to be hoisting the Lombardi this time next year. So Seattle is tied with the LA Rams for best odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 950. The Bills are plus 1100. Eagles, Ravens, and Patriots are all tied at plus 1300. So if they hold until the beginning of the season, the Seahawks and Rams odds, Ramon, would be the longest for a preseason favorite on record since at least 1977, according to ESPN research. Since 2015, plus 950 would have been the second shortest odds on the odds board once and fifth shortest on the board 6 different times. We are coming off of a season where the Seahawks were plus 6,000 entering the season and won the Super Bowl. Why do you think we are in an era of significant parity, that the favorites to win the Super Bowl have longer odds than we've seen in decades?
I personally think it's because so many teams have a quarterback, their quarterback. When you look at the concept of Sam Darnold being legit, you say to yourself, okay, we saw what Matthew Stafford could do. When you look at all across the AFC side of things, too, every team has a guy. And I think that's why when you're managing how you get to this point, and then the other side as well is Patrick also being hurt. What does the outlook look like for Kansas City? Like, there is no premier strong team. Like, as strong as the New England Patriots were, there's still a lot of questions about how they got to that point and can they do it again. And then when you look at the mess that Philly has as well, like, they got a quarterback, but they also got issues and changes in offensive coordinator. There's been a lot of change around the league, but I think it starts with every squad having a quarterback that could get hot. And I think, personally, if I'm setting the odds for this, I'm looking at what Sam Darnold has done. You look at Matthew Stafford still cooking at his age. You look at the defense that Houston has as well. Like, there's a lot of strong parts of teams, but nobody is elite per se and separated themselves, especially with this, I guess, short rebuild that Kansas City is actually going to go through as well.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's the element of the pendulum swinging in real time away from offensive gurus to defensive-minded coaches and defensive teams. Honestly, I mean, we're going to talk more about this at 7 o'clock and maybe the changing type and anatomy of Super Bowl champions. Defense has won the last 2 championships. Really 3, you could argue, with Kansas City's last one.
Do you care? And I think some fans do, that the league gets more defensive.
I don't care at all. No.
You don't care at all. Huh. Because I do remember watching the shift go to a lot of teams scoring over 30 points a game and stuff like that, and it felt like it was too offensive until you got to the playoffs again as well.
Yeah, there's less of a long-term trend for Vegas to, I think, build odds on. Because watching how much they just lost and how much plus 6,000 preseason, how off they were, you're going to be a bit more skeptical about the tried and true types that typically look like Super Bowl winners before the season and off season really starts.
You know what's wilder about this era as well? Like, I think we got bigger names than we do bigger talents too at quarterback.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
That
Justin Herbert's the prime example.
Yes. I'll throw Joe Burrow out there.
Josh Allen even.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's not been to a Super Bowl yet. It's he's become such a sympathetic figure that we're just waiting on to finally get there.
Yeah, and then you got Drake May that just pretty much jumps over everybody at this point. So
The same way Burrow did in 2021.
You almost feel as if you feel better. I ain't going to say you feel better, but yeah, you do feel better about the accomplishments that Bo Nix has had, that Drake May has had. When you look at that group of guys and you got to kind of say to yourself, like, they've pretty much jumped side by side some of the elite players. Like Josh Allen has yet to do it, but in his division, you got Drake May doing it right now. And then do you trust the concept of these teams who, and their scouting departments as well, like, why can't Buffalo get to that point if they got a young enough defense and an elite quarterback? But in year one, you got New England handling it.
They also needed weapons that they did not get.
Buffalo?
Who's that?
Buffalo.
Buffalo?
I mean, you let go of Stephon Diggs and you replace him with Keon Coleman, and that's it. You have your 2 tight ends, but who else do you have? It's him and James Cook. That's it.
Yeah.
So you're not surrounding him with the necessary weapons to go out and beat these guys. And also, I think the health factor is a big case. Justin Herbert did not have his offensive line put together. And then you go in, C.J. Stroud did not have a good offensive line. And then you go into the AFC Championship game, and Bo Nix is not even there. So his run to the Super Bowl was a lot easier than Buffalo's had in previous years.
Right now, you are looking at an AFC specifically, more so than the NFC, where teams either have a quarterback and a meh supporting cast, or they have a really good supporting cast and a meh quarterback.
You know what's crazy is we make so much of a conversation about the quarterbacks, but every single time one comes short, we speak about their surrounding parts. It just exposes the conversation. Like, the quarterback is very important. It's probably 3/4 of the pie, but the team and the strength of the team matters more in those moments as well.
It does, and I think we have to rewire our brains coming out of an era dominated by generational talents at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. I'd even put Phillip Rivers in there. I wouldn't say he's a generational talent, but he certainly has a Hall of Fame resume. I mean, we are coming out of an era dominated by transcendent quarterback play that would make guys like Austin Collie and Pierre Garcon look like Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne when Peyton Manning had them in Indy. And then the same way with different casts of characters in New England and Tampa for Tom Brady. And in the beginning of Patrick Mahomes' career, when they still had the money to afford Tyreek Hill and many of the other weapons that helped him win championships, and probably more offensive linemen as well, because that's what they had to learn after they got their butts kicked by Tampa, was, hey, how do we adjust and how do we fortify our line of scrimmage play to protect our generational talent? Well, a lot of those teams now that have done that don't have the quarterbacks to then elevate the wide receivers. Or you've got the offense, like Bo Nix had phenomenal protection, had a good enough supporting cast. He broke his ankle. He's got hurt at the worst possible time. He was maybe the exception to that, but you were either the Jags with Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., a good enough offensive line, but then Trevor Lawrence, or you were Buffalo with Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, James Cook, a solid offensive line. But again, like, who are you throwing to if you're Josh Allen?
And that's what I was going to say to you.
Interesting moment in the AFC.
Go to Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the protection of Joe Burrow. Like, he's got 2 of the best weapons ever, but he can't stay on the field or find a running game behind him as well.
Other headline quickly to get to, and we won't spend a ton of time on it, but just something to monitor here. Mike Florio of ProFootballTalk.com last night. Per a source with knowledge of the situation, the lingering absence of a specific date for Super Bowl 62 in Atlanta is tied directly to the possibility of the season expanding for 2027. With 17 games, the game would need to be played most likely Sunday, February 13th. With 18 games, it would slide to February 20th. Would also mean the NFL be playing on Labor Day for the first time since 2001. Which also means, hey, college football, now's your moment to go ahead and move the season up a week. If this is the push you needed, allow the NFL to push you forward just 7 days and allow you to make some necessary changes as well. Might be a moment where actually 2 birds meet 1 stone. Who's to say? Coming up, an Olympic minute to wrap up hour 1 next.
Guys, why not go over the top this Valentine's, man? Really make a statement with something that is so personal, so romantic, and so meaningful. I'm talking about something amazing from Genesis Diamonds, something that she can keep for years and years. Listen, flowers are nice, but nothing is more timeless than a dazzling bracelet or a pair of diamond earrings or colored gemstone pendant. At Genesis Diamonds, they have put together a special selection of thoughtful, affordable gifts for this Valentine's, including all new creations from their exclusive designers, truly unique pieces as well that she will go crazy over. And for the ultimate in value, man, you can check out Genesis' new half-price vault. It's a special section of exquisite jewelry at an incredible 50% off. Yes, that's half price. Genesis has amazing jewelry starting at just $499. Diamond studs, bangles, and bracelets, even engagement and wedding rings that she'll never see anywhere else. So I'm telling you, this Valentine's, let the non-commissioned experts at Genesis show you how to say I love you louder than ever with a classic, elegant gift that goes beyond ordinary. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling. Winter plumbing issues can come in all forms. Whether we're talking about drips, clogs, maybe it's just that no hot water when you need it the most. You jump into the shower early morning, it's cold outside, it's a little cold in your home. That's the time you need the hot water the most. No matter the plumbing issue in your home, Lee Company is available 24/7 to get the job done right. Lee Company's award-winning team has you covered from the kitchen sink to the water heater and everything in between. Contact Lee Company and schedule online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for professional plumbing service. I love working with Lee Company because they are a staple in Middle Tennessee. Trusted since 1944 with over 80 years of experience. They're going to help get everything working the way that it's supposed to around your home. Available 24/7. Take advantage of those hours and that availability by heading online to leecompany.com. That's Lee Company. All you need. Every 4 years in the world of sports, we celebrate 40 ways to slide down a hill, known as the Winter Olympics. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for a Winter Olympic Minute. To wrap up hour number one this morning on Ramon and Will, 615-737-1045. USA women's hockey beats Switzerland 3-0 as a Canada matchup looms. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Since the U.S. women swept Canada 4-0 in the rivalry series, 4-0, 2 months ago, the U.S. improved to 3-0 in the prelim round of the Winter Olympics with a 5-0 victory over Switzerland. 3-0 the U.S. women. They will meet at the Milano Sant'Agila Ice Hockey Arena.
There you go.
Tonight. Will you be watching?
I will. I'll at least tune it on for sure. I ain't got a whole lot going on this evening other than, messing around with the young athletes that I'm training lightly. So, yeah, I will check it out. Didn't they play Finland like a couple of days ago? They beat them like 6-0 or something like that?
Yeah, the
too?
U.S. women are a wagon in hockey.
Yeah.
As is Canada, to be fair.
Well, here we go. I'm most USA. I'll be watching this one for sure. I didn't realize they were that good. Watching them, they were surgical against Finland the other night.
They are that good, and everyone else is that bad.
Well, sucks to be them.
Yeah. It's. I think USA and Canada have won every gold medal since I want to say '92 in women's hockey. I was watching that. I was watching a little bit of this yesterday, and that was one of the graphics they showed was that U.S. and Canada women have been dominant in women's hockey in the Winter Olympics.
Just resources of it, I guess, just a concentration. Because you look at other countries as far as the male side of it, like other countries dominate the United States when it comes down to just talent
in men's
and
hockey?
teams.
Not necessarily.
Talent and teams. Like there's a lot of talent that comes from other countries that play in the NHL.
It's more spread out for sure, but
Yeah.
I mean, USA and Canada are the two best teams in men's hockey too.
Excuse me, America. I had no idea we were that tight in men's hockey as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing I'm most excited about for the whole Winter Olympics is NHL players being back in it and the U.S. getting started against Latvia on Thursday.
Where?
Latvia.
All right, then. I believe you. I've never heard of
What you got,
Latvia.
Justin?
Since 1998, since the sport debuted in the Olympics,
There you
Canada and U.S. have played in every gold final except for one, 2006.
Sweden.
Yeah,
that's
every time since, it's literally just been the two teams. That's fantastic.
Latvia is a country in northern Europe, situated on the eastern coast of the
Now we're on to
Baltic Sea.
geography.
That's correct. A lot of Game
what
of
about
Thrones.
Bolivia?
I think a lot of Game of Thrones was filmed in Latvia.
Was it? No, seriously?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Yeah, I had no
Let me
idea.
fact check that.
I'm not ashamed to say I had no idea what Latvia was.
Not filmed in Latvia. Game of Thrones was Northern Ireland, Croatia is what I'm thinking
Croatia.
of. Oh, Malta. I knew Croatia. Malta was the other one. Croatia, Iceland, Spain, Malta, and Morocco. Okay. There you go.
This is news to me, man. Where is this at? This is by Belarus to the southeast. The capital city is Riga. There
Okay.
you go. There's your geography moment. You're welcome,
Your
Hawk.
geography
Appreciate
minute
that.
and your
I
Winter
wanted to
Olympic
learn
minute.
something new
There you
today.
go, Hawk. You're
You're not
welcome.
living unless you learn something new every day.
Lindsey Vonn says her ACL had nothing to do with her crash. Her first statement since a gruesome leg injury that ended her Olympics says, quote, I was simply 5 inches too tight on my line when my right arm hooked inside of the gate, twisting me and resulted in my crash. My ACL and past injuries had nothing to do with my crash whatsoever. Unfortunately, she says, I sustained a complex tibia fracture that is currently stable but will require multiple surgeries to fix properly.
It's time to retire, I would expect. Like she's
Probably time to take her to the house.
Yeah, she's almost as bad as like skateboarders and like X Games like participants. Those are some bad injuries. I remember when she was dating Tiger, they were dating each other. I think she had a real bad leg injury then. She's done a lot of great stuff. So I just hate to see athletes like that just get beat to crap because of they're trying to push it in their 40s, man.
Yeah, you want to go out on your own terms.
Yeah, and this one I don't think she's going to. She broke her tibia.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, when there will be more surgeries. It will require multiple surgeries to fix properly.
Yeah. Screws, plates, everything.
It's time to pack it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're going 70 miles an hour down like a 30-degree incline there, I mean, what do you expect when you hit solid ice, basically?
Ski people have been very adamant. Her ACL had nothing to do with it. I believe him. I don't know anything about skiing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it impacts you in other sports, but like, I'm not one to overrule like a consensus opinion from this sport that the ACL had nothing to do with her injury.
Oh, give us a medical minute, man. What is the ACL doing for you, man?
You ever had skiers?
Yeah.
No,
And why is it
Exactly.
different from football players? Give us a medical minute as to why the ACL wasn't an issue, but it can be for a basketball player or a football player.
Well, I mean, that's hard because I never dealt with that type of sport. But I mean,
But you see the movement.
What I can say is I watched her training run when she made it the whole way down.
Yep.
And the way that she moved, she's got a brace on. I saw that. You saw her left knee was definitely like bigger because of that. It looked to me that she favored it a little bit, but you couldn't really tell. And if she's saying she didn't, then I'm going to trust her because I'm not going 70 miles an hour down that type of incline.
That's kinda how I feel too.
But when you're going around from gate to gate,
Yeah.
the way that you have to put pressure on each knee,
Yep.
you have to have your musculature around it very
Musculature.
yeah,
I know. I like that word.
clavicular.
So,
You have to have it very stable. You have to have it very strong. You have to do a lot of quad exercises, calf exercises, this and that, because you have multiple ligaments and tendons that will go from joint to joint and overlap the knee or the ankle, whatever. So they all have to be stable. So when you bend down and you kind of lean left to go right, then you have to be stable. And
I believe her,
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't.
I'm just going to trust the opinion of people that know the sport better than I do. I have no clue.
I got to get more skiing friends.
Really big matchup today. The U.S. going for gold in mixed curling. Major upset in the curling world yesterday. The curling world is still shaking and reverberating from American stars Corey Dropkin and Corey, spelled differently, T.S. I don't know how to say the last name. Yes.
I believe you too.
They beat defending Olympic champion Stefania Constantini and Amos Mossaner
yes,
of Italy in a 9-8 thriller semifinal on their home turf. Hey, nobody stops the U.S. on the road in curling.
So nobody stops.
That's what I know.
them from invading.
11:05 a.m. Central.
Yeah, I watched it. It
Going for
was
gold.
it was fascinating. It was
really
intense.
good. It came
was
down to the
wild.
last rock.
Oh my gosh!
So we're going to go out to T-Line Thursday with the rest of the shows to try our hand at curling.
Man, you know we don't get invites to places in public.
We've been invited to curl. We've just not been invited to do our show there. I'll be there.
The morning crew always gets screwed up.
7 a.m. coming up in 5 minutes. Women's team combined alpine skiing. If you're interested in popping something on while you're listening to us.
I'd rather have it on television.
Well, we don't get that privilege anymore. 615-737-1045. Is there a new title blueprint on ways to build a Super Bowl winner in the NFL? We'll dive into that next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, nobody likes dealing with a plumbing, HVAC, or any electrical emergency at all. Those are just 3 hot spots in your house that it'll wreck your day. It'll wreck your month, okay? Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost if you get fixed right or if somebody's trying to sell you something you do not need. I know this because I deal with Hiller personally. When you call them, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly, and the price that you chose is the price that you'll actually pay. They do no hidden fees or surprises on your bill at all. They've been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated as well. And their techs, very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And they're all background and drug screened as well. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time, so you're not sitting around wasting your time for somebody to show up. They believe in 100% satisfaction. Of their happy you'll be or the service is free. If they do work in or around your home and you're not satisfied, they'll do all they can to fix it or just simply give you your money back, man. Listen to me. For a company that you can trust and you want to learn more about them or book with them, do like I do. Go to happyhiller.com.
7:02. Good morning, live from the Circuit Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL news yesterday, the Raiders and the Seahawks Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak officially agreed to terms yesterday to be their next head coach, meaning all 10 head coaching vacancies across the NFL have now been filled. Also, Browns tight end David Njoku, who's set to be a free agent this offseason, announced on his social media yesterday that he will not be returning to Cleveland in 2026. Njoku was a first-round draft pick in 2017 and has 4,062 receiving yards, 34 touchdowns on 384 receptions in his 9 seasons. In college hoops yesterday, per multiple reports, Tuscaloosa County Circuit Court judge ruled against former pro and Alabama forward Charles Bediako. He has now been denied a preliminary injunction against the NCAA. Bediako will no longer be eligible to play for Alabama the rest of the season. Also last night, number 9 Kansas took down undefeated and number 1 ranked Arizona 82-78. Flory Badunga and Melvin Council Jr. each had 23 points on the night, leading Kansas to the win. And tonight, coming up, number 19 Vanderbilt takes on Auburn for a 6 p.m. tilt in the Plains at Neville Arena. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 on Ramon and Will, off and running on 104.5 The Zone. Glad you're with us. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the discussion. Going to start a new series over the next couple of weeks. Review and preview. Reviewing the 2025 Titans season at a specific position and previewing how you address that position. Moving forward into 2026, Ramon, as always, we will begin in 15 minutes at the quarterback position.
Most important position on the team, although we're realizing that position is a finicky one, depending upon what his support system is like on any team. Is always been the conversation, but nobody really talks about it as loud as we need to.
And there's one Robert Saleh quote about Cam Ward and Titans quarterbacks that I think slid under the radar a little bit a couple of weeks ago.
Leave it to my guy to always find the nuggets, man. That's what I'm talking about, Will.
We'll do that.
We do this thing.
Coming up here in 15 minutes. Frank Schwab of Yahoo Sports with an interesting column yesterday talking about the new title blueprint in the NFL. Seattle hiring a defensive head coach while the rest of the league was infatuated with offensive whiz kids, he says. Saying Seattle built a defense with many good players, but nobody who would rival Myles Garrett for NFL Defensive Player of the Year. They shifted to a quarterback in Sam Darnold, who is the 18th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Between Darnold winning the title this season and Jalen Hurts, who has played good football but has plenty of skeptics as well, winning the Super Bowl last year with the Eagles, there's proof that you don't need an MVP-level quarterback to win it all. Making the argument that the last 2 years tell us a story. That story is the era of having to have an elite quarterback in order to win a Super Bowl has potentially come to an end. Ramon, do you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, it depends on how your team is made up. We've had that conversation as well. Like if we go back to where you mentioned earlier, the Peyton Manning, the Drew Brees, the Ben Roethlisberger, the Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady era. Let's go championship quarterbacks, right? You look at those group, they elevated a whole lot more guys, and I feel like this era is doing. Like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, for instance, right? One, they've been playing without Joe Burrow a good bit from year to year. That's problematic for them as well. But those dudes have very exceptional talents. Like, they are who they are. T. Higgins has probably be helped a little bit. I'd almost argue, Will, like the one guy that in particular has been made a star that wasn't necessarily supposed to be one is going to blow your mind a little bit when I say it. But I thought about it yesterday when we were having a conversation about the Titans wide receivers. The one guy that's been made into a star is Nico Collins. Nico Collins not supposed to be in the same conversation as Jamar Chase and A.J. Brown and other wide receivers in this instance, right? But I feel like looking at C.J. Stroud, finding a way to make him a guy has kind of turned him into one. I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts is satisfying that. I'm not sure if Josh Allen is satisfying turning guys into stars, right? We hadn't seen it much. Like, he's got tight ends as, bona fide playmakers. Lamar Jackson has been begging for wide receivers, et cetera, on this team to get him going. So to answer your questions, how you get to that point, you need a strong enough team with a quarterback that won't mess it up. Like, we're looking at the same thing if we're looking at young talent in Bo Nix. Bo Nix is in the same conversation. Like, he's got a strong enough team to kind of guide him. I think there's more conversation to be had about how you win a Super Bowl, and it starts with, at the end of the day, again, a strong defense and support system on the offensive and defensive line. That is as boring as it can get. And I would also add to Kenneth Walker and other teams that got running games. New England couldn't find the run this past week. And Drake May is going to be considered one of those elite quarterbacks. What did he do that was elite in that game? So, yeah, there's...
Hit the opponent right between the numbers.
Yeah.
Really accurate pass on the second interception.
It was awesome. In the breadbasket, too. But the long-form answer of your question, we've put a lot of hype over we want a quarterback to be MVP of our teams.
We have. Yeah, we definitely have.
And I don't think that's fair to the other 52 players that are active on the roster in this era.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think you are seeing the NFL's pendulum start to swing back towards defensive-minded coaches and teams built inside out that just have a passenger at quarterback, not a driver. Now, do I think that the blueprint has totally changed enough based off of the last two Super Bowl winners? No. Will NFL owners think that? Yes.
But
because you're going to start seeing more NFL teams start to try to replicate the Seattle and Philadelphia models. Because 2 years is enough of a trend for NFL owners to say, maybe we call up Jeff Hafley.
Seriously?
See if he wants to be our next head coach. Well, that's what Miami did. Mm-hmm. Jesse Minter is the next head coach of the Ravens. Robert Saleh is the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
What's fascinating about that approach, Will, and you bring that up, is the reason I think teams are going to shift is it has to be a little bit because of the economics as well. You look at a list of teams, man, that have to, this is the question, like, how soon we're going to have this? How soon does Cam have to get to that point? Because
what point?
Of showing elite play.
Okay.
Because you got two instances of quarterbacks that's just coming to mind right now for me as well. That's Miami and that's Arizona. Max contracts for those dudes, and they've netted almost nothing. You don't know what you're going to get from Kyler Murray. And then you mean to tell me that, like, respectfully, I say this, but Tua Tagovailoa deserved that? Like, he earned that? Or did he get that salary because he's a quarterback?
Did Jalen Hurts really earn what he got?
Well,
he still won a Super Bowl.
But in that right there, you can justify. But when you're trying to build a team to be competitive, and Arizona and Miami hadn't been in that conversation, well, like, to get to your point about which type of quarterback do you need, like, you need some teams would probably elect to get more Sam Darnolds, Daniel Joneses, instead of saying my franchise quarterback deserves $50 million a year.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't even make the playoffs. Like, I'm not saying you're going after the retread guy, but you got to find balance in saying I want to put 30% of my cap into the quarterback just because he's on his fifth-year option. Like, that's a hard conversation to have when you're trying to pursue Super Bowls. Like, at that point, we're just chasing at that point.
6 of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL in terms of average annual value were on playoff teams this year.
They were.
Leaves 4 of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks. 40% of the top 10 of average annual value of quarterback salaries weren't even in the postseason. Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Lamar Jackson.
So when you look at those teams, Dallas is trying to build it up. Defensively, got to get some parts. Tua, that's probably the most flagrant. It's probably unfair to him as well. But I don't think anybody is feeling comfortable with what he is as a quarterback and the salary that he's getting.
I think you're watching two things happen in real time. The cyclical nature of the NFL is pivoting back towards defensive-minded leaders and coaches.
Yeah.
And you are watching a changing of the guard in terms of quarterback generations happen before our eyes. You are watching Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and this younger generation of quarterbacks start to take over from the Jared Goff. I don't know. Justin Herbert's kind of in between those two.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield type of generation. And A, because those guys have already been paid. And B, again, because you are starting to see more NFL teams invest in defensive-minded head coaches.
Before we get to the camp, do you think Justin Herbert's elite?
That's a loaded question.
You know what I'm saying?
I think he has elite traits and elite skill? Yes. Do I think you put all things together and he's an elite quarterback today? I don't know. What do you classify as elite? How many elite quarterbacks are there in the NFL?
How many elite ones, Patrick?
I mean, if you're asking me, is he a top 5 quarterback? No. Okay. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback. I think he's definitely top 10.
I just view his play and have the questions as to I don't want to say give him an excuse, but the idea that he's this high caliber quarterback that is yet to get the Chargers deep into the playoffs is questionable as to what he is. Is he just a figure of or a prospect that was a former first round draft pick that has the look, has the team, and he's a quarterback? Like,
I don't know. I mean, he's been pretty dang good. He was fantastic in 2024. He was fantastic. There's no excuse because there's nothing to excuse. He had 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3,800 yards, and a 101.7 quarterback rating. He was unbelievably good in 2024. This year, he lost both of his tackles for the majority of the season. Yeah. That was the worst offensive line of any competent team in the NFL, and there wasn't really a close second. He was sacked 54 times in 16 games.
God, dog.
Yeah. Like, I have a hard time really docking him for what this past season was. But again, at the same time, when you are one of the highest paid quarterbacks in this league, there's a certain expectation when you're $52.5 million a year. Let's go to the phones. Jay is in Memphis. First up. What's up, Jay?
Morning, Jay.
Top of the morning. How y'all doing,
We're good. We're good, brother.
Well, I just wanted to share my thoughts on this. The segment I remember was what Cam Ward needs to do this offseason.
Yeah.
And I feel that he needs to work on 3 things that he will make a big jump. That's understand the situation of football, knowing what to take, what the defense gives him, and working on his mechanics.
Yeah.
I think if he can work on that, understand situational football, know when to be a hero, know when to slang it, know when to be a game manager, and take what the defense gives him. And he get his mechanics, clean up his mechanics.
Yeah.
I think we see a big jump in him.
Yeah. Most definitely. The technique side of it, we'll definitely speak about it. Like, how much are you willing, not you willing to change them? We'll see. We'll have the conversation as how much has to change, Jay.
Appreciate the call.
Good jumping point, Jay. I actually wrote down his points, Will.
How do you grade Cam Ward's rookie season, and who do you surround him with in the Titans quarterback room in 2026? That's next.
It's Ramon Foster from Medical House Calls. As you can hear, it sounds like I need to be in touch with them. I actually have the website pulled up on my computer, and you're probably wondering, what is the website? Well, it is exactly as their name is. It's medicalhousecalls.com. They're available to you 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So you can get an appointment literally now because they have same-day appointments available or next-day guaranteed as well. Here's the thing about it. They understand that you're just busy. Life comes at you fast, and you don't have time to take care of yourself from time to time. Well, here's what I would tell you they would do. For a flat fee, you get an evaluation, full exam, treatment plans, and prescriptions if you need it. Their at-home urgent care offers expert medical care without waiting. That's what this is all about, man, is you can set them up at a time that fits your schedule from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. to be at your residence or place that you're going to be at, and they can take care of everything from your sicknesses, infections, injuries, in-home labs, and testing it as well. You don't have to worry about getting the kids out of school or work schedules or anything else that's involved with it. Or maybe you just don't want to go to the ER room, man. Well, they can fix all that for you just by coming to your place of dwelling. Listen to me. If you're feeling under the weather with this weather change that we've had and just allergies, whatever else the case may be, go to medicalhousecalls.com or call or text them 615-838-2375.
How do you grade Cam Ward's rookie season, and how do you address quarterback for 2026? As Ramona Will continues on 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV, Austin Price going to join us a little bit early this morning, coming up in 15 minutes. So an early Vols discussion here in hour 2. 615-737-1045. On Twitter, at Ramona and Will, our question this morning asks you how you would grade Cam Ward's rookie season. 4% of you are giving Cam Ward an A. 49% of you give him a B. 40% say C. 6.7% are very negative on Cam Ward, giving him a D or worse. Ramon, where would you fall on this?
I voted C.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I voted C.
A little lower than I expected.
It was fair. Like I look at the entire sum of it as well. Like the earlier part of the season wasn't great for Cam. You know, the inability to take care of the ball, hold on to the ball, and make great decisions with the football at times is what you got to be judged upon. I'm not denying that, you know, Cam can be good or end up being very special as a player. But as far as his rookie season go, the team had a very bad record. There was not much production to be given. Not a single accolade on the offensive side of the ball. And he played quarterback and completed 59% of his passes, almost 60%, you know, and that's where he was up until later in the season. You didn't see the special part come out. So you got to take it for what it is. Now, the thing about it being a C, it wasn't like it was bad. It's just the fact that with what this team was faced with him being a rookie, day one starter, not missing a snap, it looked like a C performance to me, and I think that's okay.
What is the number one thing that Cam Ward's got to improve on from year 1 to year 2?
Awareness. Knowing when to go as far as running the football, knowing when to get the ball out of his hand, and knowing when to throw it away. I thought his issues, and the reason I put him as a C, was because of the lack of understanding and judgment from college to the NFL, to where those windows are way closer, way tighter. The decisions have to be made that much faster. You're not going to outrun many players in this league or hit the corner and improv the way you need them to. Like, I know his wide receivers didn't help him as well with, you know, him throwing across his body and them dropping passes that hit him dead in the chest and stuff like that. But you got to grow gradually into those situations right there. So I think his awareness of being in the pocket and decisions when to go and when to let go of the ball as well.
Post bye week, Cam Ward completed 62% of his passes for 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns to only 1 interception, 17 sacks, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 7 games plus 1 drive. So in stats, he played 8 games. It was 7 games and then 1 drive, obviously, in Jacksonville. I think the interesting thing for Cam Ward is getting back to something that was a strength for him in college.
What was that?
The intermediate passing game between 10 to 20 yards. That's the area where Cam Ward was excellent at Miami. He was not good in the intermediate passing game his rookie season with the Titans.
No.
According to Next Gen Stats at NFL Pro, between 10 to 19 yards, Cam Ward was 51 for 127, completing 40% of his passes. That ranked him 33rd in the NFL on passes between 10 and 19 yards down the field. He had 852 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. 40% completion percentage is not going to cut it on passes between 10 and 19 yards. To your point, it's not all on him. There were some drops mixed in there, and this was not a receiver group that got a significant amount of separation. But however you spin it, 40% completion is not good enough in the intermediate passing game. For perspective, a fellow rookie who also didn't have a ton to work with, Tyler Shuck, completed 68% of his passes between 10 and 19 yards. When you go 20 yards plus, Cam completed 34% of his passes, which was 19th in the NFL. So a little bit better. Working on his base, honing in on repeatable mechanics, and taking what the defense gives him down the field is priorities 1, 2, and 3 for Cam Ward this offseason. He has got to do a better job pushing the ball downfield 10-plus yards and not just mastering the easy stuff.
Right. And then again, so we had a caller call in before the last segment, and he brought up, you know, the technique side of things. I'm not going to sit on this radio station and act like I'm a quarterback guru, But I will say, you mentioned those plays that were 10 to 20 yards down the field. Like you saw him the ball sailed, I felt like, from time to time. Like he had Chimere Dike one or two times down the field and Cam setting up, and somehow he just kind of cocks his shoulders and throws. I don't know. Like we know what it looked like, and we know what the overthrows as well look like in those moments too. But again, you see him in those positions where, to your point, you see the rifle come out and he just puts the ball on a guy's chest, or a guy sliding into a second base type of catch in the end. Like that part right there is good. But to your point of it being consistent and the flow of the game gets into a rhythm because he's making those 5 to 7 yard completions. He's making those 10 to 12 yard completions. He's hitting the guy on the breaking route out. It starts with his feet. It starts with his eyes. It starts with his shoulders. The arm talent ain't no issue whatsoever. It's a matter of consistently finding what's going to work for him. And this will be his first offseason. This is why I think this is why teams ask for that first year to second year jump to be so significant, because you get an opportunity to look at all your deficiencies, where you went wrong, and now he can go to Miami or California, Texas, wherever he's choosing to train at, and break down his mechanics and talk to his quarterback coach and trainers to get the precision that he's looking for so that it becomes natural. One thing I bring up is whatever it is, he has to hone in on it like intently, because we had these conversations about other quarterbacks that had technique issues. Case in point, like let's look at Tim Tebow. There was questions about his technique. I'm not comparing one to the other, but what I'm saying is whatever Cam decides to fix needs to become secondary to him or primary to him moving forward, because Tebow went back to the old ways all the time. Or, guys who have fumble issues, all they did is work on it in the offseason. Like, we got to see that process be consistent, because a Cam that has his feet set, eyes down the field, and shoulders square to where he wants to go is a really good quarterback and is a special talent. Now, the other part about that is this to me too. The technique is first and primary, is primary in his development, I would say. That's when, if he gets that down, that's where you get a chance to see the sidearm. When he gets more comfortable outside of the pocket, like that's a growth thing to me. It's what I've always said about Cam is I love the sidearm stuff that he does and the quirkiness that he's got with his, angles that he releases the football in. But this league is built on basics. And you got to get the basics down. Like you said earlier, the layups, they got to be made, Will.
It's going to be interesting. And even less about the layups. I think Cam started to hit the layups later in the season. Now I want to see the mid-range jumper. Yeah. We're not worrying about your perimeter game. We're not worried about making 30-footers. Let's focus on mid-range. The Titans need a mid-range passing game between 10 to 20 yards. And a lot of times, I won't put this totally on Cam, Ramon. I do think that this team struggled to protect Cam in third and intermediate to third and long. So much so that he didn't have really a lot of grace given to him in the intermediate passing game, because he's being zero blitzed on 3rd and 8, and it's just got to get rid of it with a guy in his face and try to find Elikai Manor or Chimere Dike with a guy in his lap.
But that's also on him too, because team realized he'll hold on to it to make the big play. You remember that was one of our
totally on him.
But that was one of our conversations we had. It's just like not every single time is a shot down the field.
That's not the play I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about zero blitz, double mug. You got 2 linebackers over the center. They're bringing 8. You've only got 6 to protect it, and your receivers can't get immediate separation, and you're not accurate enough with somebody in your lap to give your receiver a chance on 3rd and 8.
So you're saying that's on him, or that's on the
I'm saying it's on all
tendencies?
of it. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that it's not totally on him. Part of it is, but part of it also is like you didn't have a number 1 wide receiver to just throw a jump ball to back shoulder who could consistently go make a play for you when you're getting zero blitzed and you've got one-on-one on the outside.
So that's the part right there where I feel like having the threat of being able to have a defense get exposed if they blitz you isn't there. I'll give him grace.
Yeah, it was not there at all.
It was not there.
It's partly on him, but I also don't think it's totally on him. You need a number 1 receiver for him to say, this player down there somewhere, back shoulder, I'm going to give you a chance. Go make a play for me. He didn't have that last season consistently.
When will he be expected to make a number 1 wide receiver, or should he just be gifted one?
No, I mean, Look, when you're the number one
Or
overall
Calvin.
pick, you're always expected to make the guys around you better. But also, we got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And as a rookie against the hardest schedule in the NFL,
Wasn't going to be allowed.
without a number one receiver who was healthy for the season, give you a little bit of grace to say that you get some time to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Early visit with Austin Price coming up next. We will get back to this discussion because I do think that there is a bigger conversation to be had about the kind of backup quarterback you need to surround Cam with and just the type of environment for Cam to be successful in 26. So we will get back to this if you want to stick around with us at 8:20 this morning. Austin Price normally joins us at 8:20, but today he'll join us coming up next. Selling your first home can feel overwhelming, especially when you're not sure what to expect. But for Blake, the experience was anything but stressful once Bernie Gallerini Real Estate got involved. Hey, it's Will Bowling. As first-time home sellers, Blake and his family needed guidance. They needed clarity. They needed a team that would take the time to explain every step along the way. And from day one, that's what Bernie Gallerini gives you. He made the process simple and easy to understand, answering questions quickly, and worked around a busy schedule to make sure nothing felt rushed or confusing. With deep local market knowledge, a hands-on approach, the entire experience was smooth, organized, and stress-free. If you're selling your home for the first time or the 10th and want a real estate team that truly puts you at ease, call Bernie Gallerini today and make your next move with confidence. You can find out more about his guaranteed sale program as well online at BernieGallerini.com. Call him at 615-428-2644, online at BernieGallerini.com.
Center Jackson Low T Center have been highlighted for having the highest quality testosterone on the market. They only use pharmaceutical grade testosterone and never compounded testosterone, so you know what's going in your body. So don't settle for compounded mystery testosterone. Safer, smoother TRT with real human providers are at Low T Center, man. They dose their TRT more frequently than most other clinics to make sure your testosterone levels are also always optimal and don't dip below the baseline as well. This keeps your TRT smooth and keeps side effects in check. They also stay on top of your health with regular medical testing, so they can make sure your TRT is always safe, man. Center Jackson Low T Center have a variety of peptides to help with healing, muscle tone, recovery, sleep, weight loss, and even hair and skin quality. So head to Center Jackson Low T Center and check out their peptide therapy programs as well. Now, $50 off per vial for select peptides and GLP-1s. Listen to me, your health is always important, man. And ladies, get over to a Center Jackson Low T Center, man, or you can simply go to getmyhealthfix.com. That's getmyhealthfix.com.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, lowest in years. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck at a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards and some car loans and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now and see what option works best for you, but don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis of their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 615-499-5780 now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. The glass breaks a little bit early this morning here on Ramon and Will. As VolQuest's Austin Price joins us. Lots to discuss on Rocky Top as always, with a day in court coming up for Joey Aguilar on Friday. Some hoops discussion for two programs that had rough weekends between the Lady Vols and the men as well. Austin, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Rough weekends for different reasons.
That's right.
Oh,
very different reasons. One team isn't being accused of quitting, Austin, are they? from the two coaches that gave press conferences.
No, but, at the end of the day, one coach also took the responsibility for a lack of a box out, and who was positioned down there late in the game. The other one, told her team she needed to fix it, which, has drawn the ire of some former Lady Vols and so on and so forth.
It certainly has. Well, we'll get to that here in a minute. Austin, wanted to start, of course, with Joey Aguilar's day in court coming up Friday in the injunction hearing. What is the feeling around the program about the case that Joey has, and any momentum in one way or another for his quest for another year of eligibility?
Well, there's certainly optimism. Obviously, having a local judge, seems to be in favor. Now, you had a judge, an Alabama judge yesterday, rule against Bediako being eligible the rest of the year. Now, those two cases are apples and oranges, because Joey Aguilar didn't go to a professional, football league and play, like Bediako did. So, but again, I think there's some optimism there, and we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out, and how quickly do you get a ruling with Judge Haggerty once they get to the courtroom.
Also, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but what would that next step be if he were to win on Friday? And how do you expect the NCAA to try to fight back here?
Yeah, I would say the NCAA would appeal and try to take this thing up a rung. If I were a betting man, again, that's the biggest question: is how much do they push back? And what's their case? Obviously, again, Bediako is different than Aguilar. And so you got multiple people now, taking a swing at trying to get another year of eligibility, whether it be Joey in this instance or Trinidad Chambliss, who lost both his, basically lost both his options on appeal for another year on the waiver. And they're trying to, I think, limit that to a degree unless there's a really, really, really strong case. But I think ultimately you end up in court, with a lot of these situations, and it's going to boil down to the judge and how he sees each situation.
Joined by Austin Price of VolQuest on 3 this morning. Austin, as far as Friday goes, what's the feeling on Joey's case? Optimistic or just kind of toss-up right now moving forward?
I mean, again, I think because of the local judge and stuff, there's optimism there, right? I don't think you can say it's a slam dunk, but I think ultimately there's some optimism there. If it does go his way, the question becomes is how much do they push back, and where does this thing get to from a judge standpoint? Do they go up to a different, court? Where does it all go legally in the days and months ahead? In Tennessee's perfect world, an injunction is granted, and then they just keep kicking the can down the road until like a year from now, and then go, okay, we're good, and you go that route. But either way, I think you'll see, Tennessee still approach it the same way, where, they got an open quarterback competition right now, and until Joey is, made definitive what's going to happen in his case, I think that's how Tennessee has to approach it.
That's where I was going to go to next, man. Do you see spring ball as a wide open competition between George McIntyre and Faison Brandon, or does George get, a little bit of a lead considering he's been there and in the offense for about a year or so?
I think internally it will be an open competition. I think George, because he has been here, to your point, Ramon, does, I guess, mentally have, probably a little bit of a leg up on Faison. Now, I would tell you Faison physically probably has a little bit of a leg up on George because Faison's just naturally bigger. And so I think the mental side of things is where Faison will be trying to, not drink out of a fire hose, and that's hard. But yes, I do think it'll be an open competition, and both guys will have every opportunity to, kind of position themselves to either be the starter or be Joey's number 2 backup.
Austin Price of VolQuest at On 3 with us Tuesdays here on Ramon and Will. Austin, you were able to talk with George McIntyre on Beyond the Orange this week. You can listen to that at volquest.com. Posted yesterday. What did you take away from that conversation, Austin, and getting to sit down with him?
Smart kid, very much a quiet confidence, carries himself with a certain swagger to himself, and I think deep down, if Joey's back, he'll be disappointed because he's really looking forward to competing and trying to earn the job. Either way, I think is approaching things the right way mentally and wants to get the physical side of things figured out. And when he does that, then I think the sky's the limit.
To kind of follow up on George, Austin, and just his skill set a little bit, it feels like we've talked so much about where he needs to improve and getting bigger and the weight side of this, the strength program part of it. What are his strengths, Austin, to you on the football field? And what do you think this staff likes the most about him as they look at him potentially as QB1 if Joey doesn't win in court?
You go back to his high school tape, and what you see is a kid that can create when things break down, is a much better athlete than what people give him credit for. I mean, everybody thinks he's kind of like tall, gangly kid, and they're like, this kid's probably not going to be a very good athlete, but he is. He moves really, really well. Is more elusive than people give him credit for. Again, throws a very catchable ball, I think, which is good, and is because of his lineage and being around the game of football for so long, is a very heady, smart football player.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to the other side of the line as far as smart goes, man, and that's basketball. What's going on over there, man? What do you want to see this, against this matchup against Mississippi State for the Vols, Austin? Because it can be very problematic watching them lose in Rupp Arena the way they did this past weekend.
Yeah, there's no way to sugarcoat blowing another double-digit point lead to Kentucky and twice in 3 weeks. It stings. You can't let Kentucky beat you twice. And you've got to get back up on the horse, find a way to get a win at the hump, and then come home and go from there. Mississippi State is an average to below average basketball team. But at home, any team is capable of winning on their own home court. It's much tougher to win on the road. So Tennessee needs to come out. They got to find when I say consistent third scorer, I don't think it has to be the same. We talked about this on TV Sunday night on the locker room. You don't have to have a consistent third scorer as in like one guy. You just have to have a consistent third scorer. You go back to the Alabama game. It was Estrella who had 17. You go to the Auburn game. It was Jalen Carey who had, 13 or whatever. I mean, you have to have, I guess they have to brother-in-law it, so to speak. It might be Bishop Boswell one night. You just can't have a night where you don't really have a third scorer and Gillespie goes for 1 point in the second half. That's what got you beat the other night, in my opinion. You just didn't have anything besides Nate Ament after halftime that gave you any kind of real juice and spark, which is why you barely scored over 20 points in the second half.
And Austin, this one's going to be controversial, man. I'm sure baseball fan base of Vols is probably going insane because watching the Lady Vols lose historically the way they did against South Carolina, you just look at, the way that team is constructed, the athletes that they brought in, and then for you to have a historic loss in SEC play to South Carolina, Austin, it wasn't even the product it didn't look good. Where are you at on the way the season's kind of had these type of moments for Lady Vols this year?
Well, I mean, it's not been ideal, right?
No.
You look at, did the team even exit the halftime locker room up in Connecticut? Because after that, it's been a struggle bus for them. And you're right. I think Coach Caldwell, probably should take whatever she's wanting to do right now and maybe do the opposite. And I don't mean like decision making, but like like not letting kids talk after games, or they only talk after wins, or those type things. Like, to me, like, no, you know, your players are getting paid no different than the football team's getting paid or the men's basketball team's getting paid. You send them out there. If you want to say they've got to fix it, then that starts with, in my mind, holding them accountable to sit out there in front of the cameras and say, we weren't good enough today. We were bad. It was terrible. We have to be better. Like, they have to face the music, not just from her in practice or in the huddle during the game, but, you know, in front of the fans, in front of the media, all that stuff. You're going to have to challenge this basketball team in some type of way to see if they respond and to see if you can kind of, you know, it's almost like trying to jumpstart a dead car battery.
Right.
Like, you need something to jumpstart it, and I don't know what that is. That's up to her to find out, because I mean, she is the head coach, and she's got to be the one that leads the way. And so I think she needs to just kind of pivot. I don't mean do things differently from a basketball standpoint. The way she does things is the way she does things. But I think from an organization, administrative standpoint, like the little things about, like, you know, the players don't talk midweek, they only talk after games, and then when they don't play well, like the other night, you know, it's just her. Like, no. Bring them out there. If you're going to call them out and say they got to fix it, then call them out right there at the podium and have them sitting there with you and have them have to answer questions and make them uncomfortable. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a proud program with a proud alumni base, where I've seen multiple times this week former players that are shocked, appalled. And listen, they're the ultimate fans, and they want Tennessee to win and bounce back in a hurry. And so they're rooting hard for these girls, these former Lady Vols. But they don't want to see what happened the second half at Connecticut and then basically the whole game in Columbia again. Like, again, there's one thing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another thing to not show up and just basically be said, you quit. Like, that's just not ideal for anybody. And it's not ideal for the head coach.
He is Austin Price of All Quested on 3 at Austin Priceless on Twitter. A little early with us this morning. Austin, appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Austin.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us here this morning. Yeah, if you missed it, Kim Caldwell essentially just took her team to the cleaners in the media the other night.
Kim doing that, I respect, and I think it was appropriate. But she didn't adjust the product out there in real time. Like, I don't know, there's only so much a coach can do in, you know, a live basketball game, but they weren't even going back down the court in transition. They allowed, like, South Carolina, and I know it's South Carolina. I know. It was like Allen Iverson. I know it's South Carolina.
43-point loss.
But we're talking about just effort.
Her exact quote was, I have a team that will quit on you, and you can't do that in big games or any time in the SEC, but you certainly can't do that in this program.
What's the old saying? Either you're coaching it or you're allowing it, though, Kim.
As she's sitting there at a table without either of those or any of those players next to her.
She got some savvy players on her team, too. Like,
Yeah,
Talasia and Z Spearman can both be up there with her.
It's a red flag. It's certainly a red flag. For a coach, by the way, who has only succeeded as a head coach. She is still very new in this.
Very much so.
Coming from the Division II ranks and was dominant everywhere that she's been. And at Marshall in one season, turned them around like that into a solid women's basketball team. This is by far the most adversity that she has ever had to deal with as a head coach, and I don't like the way that she's handled it.
The other part that may be a balance for her is this is the most talent she's ever coached as well.
On paper, yeah, you're probably right.
So
because last year would be the only other example of a team that could come close to that.
Exactly.
And on paper, this is a more talented team.
So, like, her coaching adjustment, and I'm not blaming all of her coaching.
Yeah, right.
But, like, her coaching adjustment, like, how do you push up All-American or Talasia?
I'll tell you what, Ramon, that is something I think, in my opinion, goes under the radar about Bruce Pearl's time at Tennessee.
What's that?
His ability to get five-star players to buy into his style of scrappy, sticky defense, pressing, like
on the ground.
At the end, it kind of got away from Bruce a little bit. I mean, if he'd stayed there and not gotten in trouble, I have no doubt he would have continued winning a ton of basketball games. But Bruce Pearl's best teams in terms of NCAA tournament success and overall resume were not his most talented teams on paper on the floor. It was the guys that he could get to buy into his style.
Exactly.
Kim Caldwell's having some of the same issues, albeit very early into her coaching tenure at Tennessee. So,
and her issue is Tennessee's used to wanting to get All-Americans and high-caliber players.
As you should.
So she got, yeah, exactly. So she got to figure out, to your point, how she's going to get the buy-in.
Coming up, halftime of the show, as we dive into hour number 3, Easton Freeze with a very interesting mock draft for the Titans that includes not one, but 2 former Tennessee players, Ramon. Easton's going to join us at 9:20. We're going to dive into his mock draft next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. The beginning of a new year is a natural and logical time to clean, to purge, to start over. Well, why don't we treat our homes the way we treat ourselves? Don't forget about that resolution you made back at the beginning of the year. Get Zero Res out to your home to clean things up the right way. Their carpet cleaning services, hardwood floors, you name it, they're going to clean it. And the science behind ZR Water's clearing agents is much healthier than using soaps and detergents to clean. Zero Res gives you a smarter, lasting clean. No harsh chemicals, no soap residue, faster dry times, and things around your home are going to stay cleaner longer. Zero Res also has excellent service. And if you don't just want to take my word for it, check out the Google reviews. They are excellent. One reviewer says, the gentleman who came to our home gave us excellent service. Another one, 5 stars for the customer service to the quality of work. This place is wonderful. In all caps. You need that wonderful service working for you. Book online at zeroresnashville.com or call them at 615-535-9376. That's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Online at zeroresnashville.com. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning.
8:03, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL news yesterday, the Raiders and Seahawks Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak officially agreed to terms to be their next head coach in Vegas. Now, all 10 head coaching vacancies across the league have now been filled. Also, Browns tight end David Njoku, who's set to be a free agent this offseason, announced on social media yesterday that he will not be returning to Cleveland in 2026. Njoku was a first-round pick in 2017 and had 4,062 receiving yards, 34 touchdowns on 384 receptions in his 9 seasons in Cleveland. In college hoops, per multiple reports yesterday, a Tuscaloosa County Circuit Court judge ruled against former pro in Alabama forward Charles Bediako. He's now been denied a preliminary injunction against the NCAA. Bediako will no longer be eligible to play for Alabama this season. Tonight, number 19 Vanderbilt, they take on Auburn for a 6 p.m. tilt in the Plains at Neville Arena. Auburn is a 3.5-point favorite tonight. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Believe it or not, the NFL draft process is fast approaching. We're 2 weeks away from the NFL Combine. So, of course, now that the Super Bowl is over, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to start diving into the NFL Draft. Hour 3 of Ramona Will begins now. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Boulding. Justin Hawkins, our producer, at Ramon and Will, where you follow the show on Twitter. Still to come this morning, Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports at 9:20. Going to get back into quarterback discussion of the Titans here in 15 minutes on who you add to the quarterback room with Cam Ward and if you keep Will Levis as a part of that room moving forward into the 2026 season. But Ramon, today we've got Easton on to talk about his mock draft at A2Zsports.com, mocking 2 former Vols to the Titans.
Yeah.
After taking Reuben Bain Jr. with the number 4 pick, saying planting your flag on anything multiple months in advance of the draft is typically a fool's errand. That being said, Easton writes, my initial gut feeling is that the Titans will have a really hard time passing on an edge rusher with the number 4 pick. Reuben Bain Jr. will come in around 6'3", 275 pounds at the combine, but his arms are going to measure sub 31 inches. As of today, Ramon, if I were to tell you the Titans are drafting Reuben Bain Jr. number 4 overall, how would you feel about that pick?
I think it fits the defense. If it's Robert Saleh going after a guy like this that, has, I guess, a glaring deficiency according to certain people that take that stuff into account, his arm length. Here's what I kind of want to preface the entire offseason going into, especially with Bain, because I hate this time of the year and I love it the same because it gives us world of content to speak of. But the pre-draft process isn't about how much we can uplift you, put you up on a pedestal. It is about the tear down. What can we strip away from you to minimize what you are so that we feel either better about our pick or why you shouldn't go that high. But soon as the guy get in the building, none of those things are issues whatsoever. Leatu Latu, of course, the edge rusher a couple of years ago was drafted by the Indianapolis Colts. We were speaking about his neck issue. Hadn't spoken about it not a single time since he's been with the Colts, and he's been productive as a young edge rusher in this league, right? Only other time it's kind of come up is Bryce Young, of course, with his weight and his slight build and stuff like that. But now that he's playing, decent, nobody's even mentioning it. Right?
I think it's still being mentioned.
It is, but you forgive it more because he's making plays. What I'm getting at is this. Reuben Bain Jr. is going to be criticized and mocked for his arm, his short arm length and stuff like that. He get into that building and he starts to make plays. That's where it benefits him. What I have noticed lightly, and we're not even deep into prospect breakdown about Reuben Bain Jr. is this. If you look at his tape, he actually, no pun intended, minimizes his arms a lot.
How do you do that?
He's a touch-and-go guy with his hands. He wants to get into you. Then he does what I think James Harrison became way more popular with. He uses his height as an advantage. If you look at Reuben Bain Jr., like the body type in general, heavy bottom guy, his lower body is wide. I think that's where the 270 is coming from. Like squat king, deadlift king, like Quadzilla is what he is when you look at his body type in general. And I think he's figured leverage, his lower body, and speed and power out more than he has his arm length. Like, would you love for him to have 34-inch arms? Yes, but I think he's already adjusted to the concept of it being a thing for him without actually trying to. What I'm getting at is this. Look at his rushes. You hardly ever see him double arm lock somebody out because long arm guys do that. You see him quick flash, getting to the body and bend the corner on dudes. Or he's just straight bull rushing and using power through their chests.
How much harder will it be to do that in the NFL versus against some college tackles who will have similar arm length limitations as him?
I personally don't know if it's going to be a big issue. And here's the reason why. James Harrison, for a decade plus, used his motor, used his leverage, used his skill set to become Defensive Player of the Year and have a double-digit, probably Hall of Fame career. We've seen Dwight Freeney do these types of things. We've seen numerous guys. Elvis Dumervil. Now, granted, Dumervil's arms reach down below his kneecaps. That's a different monster right there. But when you have guys who are slight in height that have to use leverage and power and speed, they've adjusted more times than not. Like, will he run up against friggin' Trent Williams or somebody like that probably locks him out? Yeah. But the production that you're asking for as far as what this defense is going to need of power and speed and violence, he matches the stereotype. Arms be damned. You can't say he don't make plays. This to me is trying to figure out Aaron Donald. And I'm not comparing him, right? Or Jarrett Verse. Where do you play Jarrett Verse? What do you make of Jarrett Verse? Is he a three technique? Is he a stand-up linebacker? Can he put his hand down in the dirt? These are the same questions being asked about, to me, Ruben Bain Jr.
Sure.
And the adjustment, I feel like if you watch his tape, has already been had.
Man, it's going to be interesting. I think that's an interesting evaluation by you and an interesting comparison to James Harrison, who is shorter than Ruben Bain Jr., but had a lot of the same tools in his tool chest to the way Bain on film at Miami uses power to overwhelm tackles he's matched up with. I think worst case on Ruben Bain Jr., he is an edge setter and a plus run stopper the second he walks into the facility, just based off of his size and his skill set. The question becomes, though, are you willing to draft a run-stopping edge rusher with the number 4 overall pick?
I wouldn't even. I think he's both. I think he's like, you have to be both.
I just mean the low end of his evaluation, and what I'm not worried about is like, I think he's at the very least a guy who's going to set a good edge. The thing is, that's not what I'm drafting somebody to do with the number 4 overall pick.
This is very true, but
it's a big risk. It's a really big risk.
I mean, Corey Davis was at 5 as well. Like,
yeah, and look how that worked out.
I know, but like, he
didn't make it to a second contract.
This is true, but like, I don't see like his level of production and the level that he played at and the consistency. Like, he went from, wasn't he back-to-back ACC Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's got phenomenal numbers in college.
This is like us talking about Mekhi Lemon at wide receiver. We had a post-work conversation, and so here's my point: when you got wide receivers that have certain, I guess, traits that you're looking for. Mekhi Lemon, from what we know, is he's a football catcher. He's a possession guy. The ball comes his way. You won't be shocked if he comes into the league and he catches balls. Like, the reason I look at Bain, I think his comparison is very close to the way on the wide receiver scale. Last year, we looked at Tedero McMillan. I told you, like, last year, like, he's a pass catcher. He can make plays. It's not abnormal for him to use his body against a DB to go make plays. And now look at him right now, Offensive Rookie of the Year. So, like, the concept of what their play has displayed is consistent for what you would expect for him at the next level. Like, case in point, Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty's situation, we looked at the level of ball that he played at Boise and his style and his technique and said, will that translate over? And you took a chance on the number 4 running back, and it hasn't netted success immediately for him. I think the success that Ruben Bain Jr. has had in back-to-back ACC seasons should justify or minimize the idea that we're going to knock him for his arms, because if you watch him rush, he's quick arm and he's often giving you shoulders and he's using power to get home.
The problem with the comparison, in my opinion, that you're making is that none of those guys are edge rushers. And I think that edge rusher is a unique position in the way college production translates to professional production. The athletic gap between college tackles and NFL tackles, you know, as well as anybody, having played with some really good tackles, is a significant jump. I don't know if it's the same kind of jump that you're making at wide receiver and running back. I'm willing to hear arguments on either side of that. I know from hearing people a lot smarter than me talk about the draft that edge rusher is not necessarily a transferable position from college production to NFL production, because you may have a fastball that helps you and works for you, I don't know, let's just throw out a number, 6 times out of 10 in college football. You can overwhelm tackles with one move. But if you don't have a changeup, that fastball is, when all of a sudden that doesn't work at the NFL level, you're in trouble. That's the way I've always viewed it, in that you can overwhelm a tackle with power in college more often than you're going to be able to overwhelm a tackle with that one same move. And it's the players with the elite athleticism, not necessarily production, that often take a big jump forward. It's, again, to use the example we've used before, Derek Barnett and Myles Garrett. Derek Barnett at Tennessee had equal production to Myles Garrett at Texas A&M marginally. It was a monster. He had one speed move around the edge. Myles Garrett was a better overall athlete who, at his size, was able to learn more moves and have a deeper bag of ways to beat a tackle. Fair? What do you agree or disagree with there?
I disagree as far as Ruben Bain only having a one trick.
Okay.
I think he's got a tool bag.
I'm willing to hear you
the
out.
separator to me is this with Ruben Bain Jr. It's the power, it's the leverage, it's the ability to get off of guys with his arms. Like, I don't look at him as a one-trick pony. You mentioned like his ability to set the edge, but he's also setting the edge when it comes down to pass rush, to where he's bull rushing guys. Okay, now I'm going to set you up and bull rush you and quickly get off of you. Like, his drive and push through offensive lineman chest consistently is his pass rush. Like, yeah, you got to have somebody that's going to get on you, but the way he lowers himself and explodes through offensive linemen, and not just that, but his disruption that he has up and down the line of scrimmage of being able to move him to a 3 or move him to a 7 technique is super unique to me. I personally, when I see him, I see James Harrison.
And you would know, considering the amount of time that you spent with James Harrison.
I saw long 6'8" tackles try to put their arms on him, but because of his ability to know his body, know his leverage, know his speed, know his bend and power, they couldn't stop him. We got a Hall of Fame left tackle in Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
That couldn't block him at now. We're talking about two different ends of the spectrum right now as comparing him to James. But I view him as that type of player that I wouldn't worry about 3-inch shorter arms.
Okay.
I personally wouldn't move him. After watching his tape,
right,
I can't say that's flagrant. Our team's going to mock it? Yes. Our team's going to knock him for it? Absolutely. You're going to laugh at it. T-Rex, I don't see him as T-Rex arms. I think when you look at his threats of bull rushing through your chest, the arms don't matter at that point.
This is certainly one of those things where I trust your opinion on it way more than I trust mine, considering you've blocked humans like this and you've seen edge rushers like this have or not have success. It's a really interesting option. He is a very unique prospect. Coming up, Dan Brugler dropped his top 100 of the NFL draft rankings at The Athletic this morning. We'll tell you where Ruben Bain is and what Dan Brugler's initial evaluation is of the former Miami edge rusher. Plus, who do you surround Cam Ward with in the Titans quarterback room in 2026? Our review and recap, our recap and preview series continues at quarterback after this. So I'll be honest, I am being persuaded on a Titans option with the 4th overall pick. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone. Look, it's February. We've got to be open-minded about watching film, about hearing about prospects, and you're going to hear a ton of names because, Ramon, I think this is as wide open as the Titans have been in terms of what they could draft with their first-round pick in recent memory. You're persuading me a little bit on Ruben Bain Jr. Dan Brugler, in his top 100 prospects, which just dropped this morning at theathletic.com, has Ruben Bain Jr. as his number 9 player. A little bit lower than where a lot of people have him.
Wow.
Writing, carrying a uniquely thick body type with short arms and average get-off, Ruben Bain Jr. isn't the picture-perfect embodiment of what NFL teams covet in a pass rusher, but he consistently deconstructs blocks with power and is a tough player to slow down. He uses anvil-weighted hands to jar blocks off balance or command the edge in the run game. Ruben Bain Jr. helped answer some of the scouts' concerns with his dominant stretches in the college football playoff. Again, we're talking about Ruben Bain Jr. because Easton Freeze mocked him number 4 to the Titans in his full Titans mock draft at adcsports.com. You agree with Dane's evaluation there?
Yeah. The short arms thing. Yeah. Golly, what's short arms? Like,
He's got really short arms.
I go with the positives. His violent anchor-like hands, absolutely. That minimizes the arm length conversation.
When he gets his hands on you, he's like a jiu-jitsu fighter, the way he is hand fighting.
Not picture perfect. There's been plenty of edge rushers. Like Dwight Freeney was not picture perfect. Not even a little bit when it comes down to what you expected him to be as a doggone edge rusher. Like Keith Bullock wasn't a stereotypical off-ball linebacker, to be quite honest with you. Like he's more of an edge rusher type. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a matter of, in my opinion, can they make plays? Is there consistency in his method and how he chooses to get home? And what does the tape show you?
It's interesting. I've seen a lot of Brandon Graham comparisons for Ruben Bain Jr., the Philadelphia Eagles edge rusher who was 6 foot 268, ran a 4.72 40, was a above average athlete in terms of his relative athletic score of 7.56, but even he had 32.6 inch arms. Ruben Bain Jr. is, I think, expected to be sub 31 inch. He is going to be a really polarizing prospect through the whole thing.
He's going to be very polarizing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Not that it matters, and front offices shouldn't listen to players per se when it comes to building or reconstructing a team. Jeff has come out loud about Bain. He sees something clearly in him that he likes as a player. Like, that's one of the best, especially this year as he's first team All-Pro, Jeffrey Simmons, best defensive players in the entire league. And he's saying, I want Ruben Bain Jr. I think when you see and hear players vouch for guys that loud, that proud, there's something that they see, which is why I'm kind of, putting myself in that boat. Like, as a player, I see him as a problem. Like, I'm looking at Dane Brugler's breakdown of him, too. Starting off, of course, with the thick body with short arms. Like, that's not a negative. Everybody in football brags about big lower body and power and explosion and great foundation and stuff like that. My question is this. How short is short when it comes to the arms? Because I just showed you clips of a first series against Ole Miss, and do you notice the arms? I wouldn't say it's not popping off the tape to you. What I notice is on that first third down play against Ole Miss in the playoff game this past year, that left tackle went to go shoot his arms, and Ruben Bain double swiped and got around the edge and flushed out Trinidad Chambliss for an incompletion as he was scrambling outside of the pocket. When we mention disruption on a defense, it's more than just sacks. It's giving a quarterback change his vision and being uncomfortable in the pocket. And if you look at Ruben Bain Jr.'s play, he continuously make quarterbacks uncomfortable or move off their spot. Like, when you mentioned to me and Dane Brugler, who I respect and the stuff that he does, how he deconstruct blocks with his powerful and tough hands, his anchor hands. Like, that to me, violent hands is what I teach all young players. Can substitute a lot for you. Mm-hmm. You can be a long arm, soft grabbing type of guy that just got long arms. And I've seen those types of players before. It's like, man, that guy looks like a freak. And then you put him out there on the field and nothing that he uses is an attribute of his.
Sure.
Or strength.
Sure.
Ruben, I feel like, has probably heard this conversation, and especially this year, probably understood that this was going to be a knock, so let me minimize it. You're getting 100% every single time you see him on the field. And that probably makes up effort, right? Try hard guys.
Yeah.
That makes up for the arms from time to time.
Nick Suss, the Tennessean, tweeted yesterday, 2 stats to set up the next 3 months. In the last 10 years, the median Super Bowl winner has finished with 3.5 sacks and 11 quarterback hits in the Super Bowl. NFL teams have used 86 first-round picks on edge rushers, 35 of whom have been Pro Bowlers since the Titans last picked a round 1 edge rusher. It's been a while.
Been a little minute.
So that's going to be the big discussion, certainly, through the next 3 months. What you got?
The question, I guess, where we have to have answered is, of the top rushers that are coming out this year, how many of them are walking off the bus as day one starters because their production will say so, or justifiably will have an effect of being drafted top 5?
Yeah, if you're picking one number 4, that guy's starting day one. There's no question. If you're picking 135, they're probably still starting day one, considering the depth this team has at edge rusher.
Of all the guys that are in this, the higher ceiling guy is probably Arvell Reese, is what a lot of people were saying.
If Arvell Reese is there at 4, you sprint to the podium to take him. I just don't think he's going to be available with the 4th pick. With the overall versatility that he has.
Yeah.
Could be interesting. So we'll talk more to Easton about that coming up at 9:20. We will talk in a few minutes, too, about the 2 Vols he has mocked to the Titans in the rest of his draft. I did want to get back into the quarterback discussion, though, Ramon, as we go through position by position on the Titans roster and do what we're calling review and preview. Reviewing the season that was at each position and looking at how it needs to be addressed this offseason. I've got your backup quarterback that's ideal for the Titans in 2026.
Who you got?
He is a quarterback who has been coached by both your head coach and your offensive coordinator. He is a free agent. I'd be comfortable with him playing if Cam Ward, God forbid, got hurt. He is 37 years old and will be able to help Cam learn Brian Daboll's system. Do you know who I'm talking about?
It ain't Jameis Winston.
No, it's not. He's not available at the current moment.
Snoop Huntley?
It's Tyrod Taylor.
He's 37?
37-year-old Tyrod Taylor. Has been coached by Robert Saleh with the New York Jets. Was with him in 2024, was at the blue side of New York, the Giants, as Daniel Jones is back up in 2022 and 2023. Here is my way I'm rebuilding the Titans quarterback room. I'm signing Tyrod Taylor to a 1-year, $5 million contract, and I'm trading Will Levis for a day 3 draft pick. Now, I'm open to when you think you could get the best deal for Will Levis. Are you so desperate to move on from him that you want a draft pick this year? Or would you rather have maybe the opportunity for him to raise his stock? And again, God forbid, another quarterback around the league get hurt to create more of a demand for Will? Or maybe if you traded him in August, that 6th round pick you may be able to get for him today becomes a 5. Or maybe becomes a 4 and you give a 6. Or a 4 and you give a 7 and whatnot. You on board with that? Tyrod Taylor, trade Will Levis?
Yeah, I think Levis is going to have to go. I think the opportunity that he wants as far as getting his shoulder fixed, like, I don't think he's in the mindset of being a backup right now. Tyrod Taylor, or to me, to be quite honest with you, Jameis. Tyrod is non-threatening at 37 years old, and so is Jameis as well. To your point about helping sustain an offense, well, Jameis has also played for Daboll. And to me, I think the communication factor from backup quarterback to Cam needs to be somebody that he feels comfortable with. And he was good with Brandon Allen this past year, too, as well. I think Cam's a great teammate from all the things I've heard about him. The backup quarterback, to me, is almost irrelevant because Cam's so tough. I know you got to have a guy, but the guy, to me, is probably Jameis.
Jameis, who is not available right now.
He's not?
He's under contract.
For 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Look at Jameis.
No, he may get cut because they can save money by releasing him. But yeah, he signed a 2-year, $8 million contract with the New York Giants last year.
Tyrod makes sense.
If Jameis becomes available and they release him, I'll call him myself. I don't know. That's not going to make a difference. Like, who's this radio host trying to call me? Sky Titans, the radio broadcast? I need to talk to the front office.
You can tweet
But, I will do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I'll give him a year's supply of crab legs if he wants to come be the backup quarterback for Cam Ward for a multitude of reasons.
What is wrong with
Mainly just because he'd be entertaining for us. No, because I legitimately believe he's a solid backup quarterback, A, who can play, and B, who is a great teammate.
Yeah. Tyrod fits the bill, to be quite honest with you. I see the other list of guys you have right here. Marcus Mariota would be good.
Yep, Marcus Mariota is 32 years old. Kenny Pickett, 28. Not familiarity within the system, but again, when you're looking at the top-level backup quarterback market, these are the kinds of names we're talking about. Jimmy Garoppolo, who's 34, by the way. I didn't realize he was that old.
I actually thought it was older.
Okay, well, never mind.
I feel like he's been around for a while. I would have flipped his age and Tyrod Taylor age around, to be quite honest with you.
So I think that's what you're probably looking at. I mean, Brandon Allen's still there, too, if you wanted to bring him back. Obviously, he doesn't have the system familiarity with your new coach that he had with your old one. Where does Will Levis fit in this? We already got one tweet from John who writes in and says, why would you subtract Will Levis? See what you have in him with good coaching. Clearly, he regressed under Callahan. He's worth more as a backup than what you can get from a trade. And if he plays well during preseason, you could possibly get more from him if you were to trade him. Do you agree with that?
Why? See what you lost me when you said see what you can get out of Will Levis. Like, there's no seeing what you can get out of him when you got Cam Ward as a starting quarterback. To be quite honest with you, when he said that and you read his tweet, there's nothing else that was relevant about the conversation other than see if Will Levis is healthy. You probably get him in right before the draft where they're doing a little of OTAs and you trade him away. Will Levis, to me, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, I think his mindset is ambitious as hell as far as him being a potential starting quarterback. Here's the situation that you got to measure when you're looking at the breakdown of a team. One, there's only one franchise quarterback. Will Levis has been teased with a carrot at the end of the rope to go be that guy. You got to think, he was opening day starter here. There was a campaign behind him. He had a Mayo cologne. He's got national commercials. To say, see what you can get out of him is anti-Cam Ward to me. Period. There's just no other way around him being here, to be quite honest with you. If I was him, I'm spiteful as hell about my reps that I'm getting in practice to up-show Cam. And I know it don't matter to him, but legitimately, once you become a starter in this league and you're as young as he is, and I think Will Levis got a lot of talent, to ask him to come in and get better so we can see what we can get out of you as a third-year player is disrespectful and flagrant. There's no pathway for him being a backup here, in my personal opinion, especially with Cam here.
And I think partly because of the reaction you get when you even just say his name into a microphone. And the people that are either Kentucky fans who live here or who are Titans fans who didn't give up on him. It is going to be hard for portions of this fan base to totally embrace and adopt and support Cam Ward until Will Levis isn't on the roster anymore. That's just the reality of it.
He was your opening day starter.
The question becomes, how much does the front office care about the level of distraction Will Levis is or isn't? A, do they feel like he is any kind of distraction at all? And B, do they care?
I don't think he's trying to be a distraction.
No, I don't think his actions have made him a distraction. I just think it is natural for a guy who was the starting quarterback and lost the job to still have a portion of the fan base that thinks that guy deserves another chance. That's not personal towards Will. No. That is totally out of his control. It's just, again, like, usually when you get benched for a new guy, you don't stick around.
No, you do not.
Because there's going to be a portion of the fan base that's always yelling for you to go in when the starter struggles. And backup quarterbacks are a unique position.
Seen, not heard. Usually.
Exactly. How much does Cam need to be pushed by someone that could compete with him just in general?
At this point, to be quite honest with you, none.
I think
I thought about it.
I agree, and I think that changed after the bye week.
I agree.
Because I think if you'd gotten Cam Ward before the bye week this season for the whole 18 weeks, maybe we are talking about Malik Willis coming back. Maybe we are talking about someone that could challenge Cam Ward in camp. I think, if anything, you are looking to tone down Cam's competitiveness. And that's a really weird statement. And again, these are good problems to have. I don't think you need to amp up Cam Ward's level of competitiveness in practice.
Cam's pushing should come from Brian Dable and his staff.
Bingo.
Period.
He should be pushed to tone it down a little bit. And again, please don't take that out of context. Cam Ward is Cam Ward. Cam Ward is an alpha personality. I love that Cam Ward is such a warrior and competitor that he is. I think all that is great.
Yep.
Again, if I'm picking any problem that I want to have with a player, this is the one that I'm picking. That being said, Robert Saleh looked reporters in the eye 2 weeks ago and said, for Cam, the best way to develop a quarterback is to give him a team that doesn't make him feel like he has to be Superman. There's going to be a time as Cam continues to develop where he can put this entire organization on his shoulders and lead it to a win. But asking that of a young kid, I think, is unrealistic.
Facts.
This quote flew under the radar from Robert Saleh the other day. Building a structure for him that doesn't ask him to be Superman 60 plays a game will be at the front of our minds. Cam Ward, to Jim Wyatt, talking about Brian Dable, said, I like that he is a fiery coach. He is going to get on my ass when he needs to, and he is going to hold me to a high standard, and that's the standard I want to be held to. Cam Ward doesn't need any pushing on the practice field.
Perfection.
Cam Ward needs... Cam Ward's to... toning down is not the way to describe it. He needs to be reined in.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was saying he needs to be told what to do first and get that down, master it before allowing him to get outside of the box. It's the same thing that we dealt with or watched with Patrick Mahomes.
I like it. I like the fact that he's like this, but it's still something that he's got to channel the right energy towards. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Am I describing myself clearly here?
I get it because that's what I've been saying.
Right.
And everybody's been like, let
Totally
Cam cook. And I'm just like, you're going to have to read that quote again from Robert Saleh because that's when I've said this about Cam, everybody's like, you're minimizing him. You're not necessarily a hater, but Cam got to cook. And I'm just like, yeah, but does he know what temperature to turn the stove on? Like, does he know, like, you can cook a steak too fast?
Let's cook on medium low before we go up to 6 or higher on the stove.
We can sear it, but, like, I don't want my steak blue. Like, give me medium in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can cook it too hot and it look done and it's raw.
615-737-1045. No, I think it's fair.
I don't want raw chicken in the middle. It looks done on the outside, but it's raw in the middle. That's all we're saying.
Open for your phone calls and reaction. Are you trading Will Levis this offseason? And if so, who's your backup quarterback for Cam Ward? That's next.
It's Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing, man. I'm here to tell you about my friends at Jewel Roofing, man. They are a trusted, family-owned Middle Tennessee company that's been serving from Clarksville to Murfreesboro for over 25 years. They stand out by building relationships and earning trust through referrals, never through high-pressure tactics or door knocking or storm chasing. Speaking of that, though, if you've had some issues with your, roof because of the ice that was stuck on it, you got some leaks here and there, this is a company that you should reach out to, man. They are just good. They have different alternatives of how they can give you a clear estimate with no surprise fees. They also have flexible financing as well, so you can get the roof work you need without a delay. I'm here to tell you, man, builders and homeowners, they trust them, and you can too. And I as well. I've had them get on top of my roof. They've walked around and saw that I had a couple of bulging points on top of my roof that they had to fix. And it was no issue, no problem. Didn't need a whole roof change or anything, man. They're just good and honest, and they do very good work. You can call them at 615-868-9999 or go to their website at jewelroofing.com. That's Jewel Roofing with 2 L's.com.
At Ramon and Will on Twitter, where you can vote in a couple of polls this morning as we wrap up hour 3 of the program. Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports going to stop by at 9:20. He's got Colton Hood in the second round and Chris Brazel in the third round, going to the Tennessee Titans after Reuben Bain Jr. at 4.
Yeah.
Our second poll we just posted a few minutes ago because a lot of you want to chime in on the Will Levis stuff. How should the Titans handle Will Levis this offseason? We've given you 4 options because that's as many as we can give you.
Right.
Pre-draft trade, training camp trade, make him QB2 or sign a QB2 but keep him. Developmental guy, third quarterback. So
I hit pre-draft trade.
I would as well.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. Mark in Smyrna first up. What's up, Mark?
Morning, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
Good morning.
I'm calling about the Will Levis. Our last 3 quarterbacks have something in common. None of them look good. I don't believe Cam Ward looks good. But they all have something else in common. They're running for their lives, okay? I believe you need to keep Will Levis. He very well could be your starting quarterback. If we don't have a line, Cam Ward's not going to make it through the year. I don't think Cam Ward shown any more promise than Will Levis did.
Ooh, wow.
I don't know why everybody takes up for him. He throwed interceptions. He got sacked. He was just flat out dropping the ball. He did not do anything better than Will Levis. Everybody's hung up on this guy. I just don't believe so far he has showed me anything more than the last 2. The last 2, y'all just said bring Malik Willis back. Everybody rode him out of town too.
Well, Mark, we're not advocating for bringing Malik Willis back. We were saying that if Cam had played poor, even worse this season, or if Levis was the starter and you had, a worse season at quarterback, maybe you would. We are not advocating for bringing Malik Willis back. Definitely
no.
Well, I don't see anything in Cam Ward that I did not see in Will Levis. Okay, he had 1, 2, 3 games. Oh, he looked a little better at the end of the year. But come on, guys. Look at the stats.
Well,
but again, the last 3 guys, they all had to run for their lives. We really don't know with Will Levis or Malik what we have.
thank you, Mark. Appreciate the call. We've got a couple other people on the line, so we're going to keep it moving.
Appreciate that, Mark. You were phenomenal.
Was he?
Was.
To the point about them both throwing interceptions, that is not a fair comparison. Cam Ward threw 7 picks in 17 games. Will Levis threw 12 picks in 12 games in 2024. Will Levis was more of a turnover machine than Cam Ward was in terms of INTs. So statistically, yes, Will Levis was worse. I also believe that both quarterbacks are complicit in how much they got hit. The reason why Will Levis took a lot of sacks is not just because the line was bad. The line was bad, and he was terrible at knowing when to get rid of the ball. Cam Ward was to start the season, and he got better at that. And maybe we learned that, hey, maybe this line isn't actually terrible. Maybe we just need a quarterback that knows when to fire it.
I got nothing.
Okay, all right.
I do. No, your points are valid. Like, there's a loud section of Titans fans that feel that way. Mark spoke up.
Which is why you got to trade him.
Levis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, that call is an example of why you trade Will Levis.
I'm here for Mark this morning.
David in Lebanon
Hell
next
yeah,
up.
Mark.
Good morning, David.
Good morning, guys. First of all, I want to comment a little bit on Mr. Bain there. So what about his arms being a little short? You do the best with what you got. This Titans team's going to be awesome. Cam Ward's awesome. We need excitement for that new stadium. Bring in Jameis Winston as the backup. Let him bring that fire and energy to that new stadium of what we need. I think he would be perfect in helping Cam get situated with the league. We're going to rock it this year. Come on, people. Let's get excited about this team we're going to have.
I'm with it.
Thank you,
There we
David.
go, David.
Appreciate the call.
Anti-Mark call right there.
Jameis Winston is currently under contract in New York, but if he becomes available and gets cut for the Giants to save some money, then abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
Bring him.
I'm speechless.
615-737-1045. We will give Ramon time to gather his thoughts on Mark's call saying that Will Levis is the same skill level as Cam Ward. We got one Twitter post, Ramon, to us that says, I'm a Kentucky fan, and that caller is crazy. Cam is monumentally better than Will Levis.
Hell yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
And also, the reason why Cam's better, first overall pick talent. Will Levis was a second-round pick
Call
talent.
back anytime. You hear me, Mark? You see me in public. You say,
Coming
hey, what
up,
up?
more of your reaction. We'll reset the headlines.
Yeah.
Charles Bediaco's college career is over, and more of your thoughts on what the Titans do with Will Levis after this.
9:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. In NFL news yesterday, the Raiders and Seahawks Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak officially agreed to terms to be their next head coach in Vegas. Now, all 10 head coaching vacancies across the NFL have all been filled. And this morning, the Giants are interviewing former Titans head coach Brian Callahan for their quarterback coach, per Mike Garafolo. Callahan served in the same role with the Lions and Raiders back from 2016 to 2018 before heading to be the Bengals OC for 5 years and the Titans head coach last 2 seasons. Also, per Mark Daniels of the Boston Herald, Patriots rookie left tackle Will Campbell said he tore a ligament in his knee this season and was not 100% in the postseason, but says that's not an excuse. Campbell allowed a sack and 14 quarterback pressures in the Super Bowl this past Sunday. Tonight in SEC Hoops, number 19 Vanderbilt takes on Auburn for a 6 p.m. tip-off in the Plains at Neville Arena. Auburn is a 3.5-point favorite tonight. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show, getting started on this feisty Tuesday morning. The weather is nicer. It's incredible what a little bit of sunlight can do to a guy.
Amazing. Do you hear me?
It's going to be a beautiful day. 71 degrees. It's 57 right now. Enjoy it. Go frolic in a field somewhere.
Frolic.
You never know when Mother Nature's going to throw 20 degrees at you at the end of February or March. Tends to happen around here, so go enjoy it while you got it. Mark got the phone lines ablaze and hot, saying that Will Levis is the same level as Cam Ward, and why do we give Cam all this time? Levis deserves time. Got the people going. Many of you chiming in on that call and our Will Levis discussion at Ramon and Will. George writes in on Twitter, at Ramon and Will says, Mark called and said, I don't care what I'm saying, but it's provocative. Another commenter on Twitter says, so get rid of Levis because he might be better than your starter and create a competition? Mm-hmm. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mark is here he's not here for the games. And I feel him like, don't try to tell me it's better than what it was. That's all Mark is saying. It's just, listen, I saw what I saw, and I've seen quarterbacks before him do the exact same thing. So you mean to tell me that he's my savior? And when it comes down to the football world at quarterback here in Nashville, Tennessee, I'll put it this way. I can understand who Mark is speaking up for. Mark is simply tired of the sale and not actually, the sale of it being good and you not actually seeing it. Now, the other part that Mark has to understand is this. The projection of what you expect Cam to be is higher than what Will Levis ever presented to you as well. So it's that part. But there is, and we know this, there is a portion of this fan base that feels very much so like Mark does. And it's okay, because that's why we got this show, is to hear the fans speak on how they feel.
Yeah.
And Cam's a hot topic here. He is right. A lot of people cover for Cam when the results that were in front of you hadn't been great. And that's what we were saying early in it when we spoke about the quarterback scenario and how we view Cam's year. You put a poll out there. I'm not sure what the updated results are, but I think most of it was A through D, or later it was B and C. People felt like Cam had a B or C year.
We've got 2 polls up there this morning. I'll retweet the first one, at Ramon and Will on Twitter. You can go vote. How would you grade Cam Ward's rookie season? 4% of you give him an A. 50% of you say B. That's where I would be. I'd say B minus. 39% of you say C, 7% say D or worse. Our most recent poll this morning, what do you do with Will Levis this offseason? 48% say pre-draft trade, 18% say training camp trade, 27% say make him quarterback 2, and 7% of you say sign a backup quarterback but still keep him.
I'm trading him beforehand. If just to alleviate the conversation around put Will Levis in, it's going to be the biggest conversation if he is here. Or every reporter that's at those practices, OTAs, and minicamp, what was Will Levis's reps like today? Just even the conversation, or Cam having to make light of a quarterback that's as competitive as he is. on the practice, on practice days. Well, how did you think Will Levis did today? And I'll tell you guys, I'm not calling him a fragile position, but you have to care for your franchise quarterback different than almost any other position on the field.
Yeah, it's only one place.
It's only one place.
Yeah.
And to muddy that up with Will Levis conversation every single day is it takes away from what the main goal is, and that's to make Cam Ward as best you possibly can as your franchise starter.
Well, and again, as much as you already have the competitiveness and the fire of Cam Ward on the practice field, having a more formidable opponent or challenger to him to battle for reps isn't something that you really need to motivate Cam Ward. Cam Ward gets out of bed every morning and is plenty motivated as it is.
No doubt.
Having Will Levis there to push him, I don't think does you any good. I don't know if it does you any harm, but I don't think it really matters. I think having an older quarterback like Tyrod Taylor who knows the system that Cam's about to learn is valuable. And Tyrod Taylor who understands the on and off the field responsibilities of being a backup. What are you laughing at?
Everybody attacking each other in the chat off this conversation. You got somebody in there that says Levis better than Willis and Ward is better than Willis. Levis is better than Willis, and Ward is better.
Why are we talking about Malik Willis? He's not. He's definitely not an option to come. I know we mentioned him as like, well, maybe if Cam had been bad, we shouldn't have even said his name because then that just opens a whole other can of worms. That's my fault.
No, it's not. Shout out to Mark. I'm here for this, man. This is, but what I will say is this: I'm very much happy about this conversation because here's the other part. I think we heard from a portion of this fan base that's just tired of the optimism. They want reality, and I think that's why also the front office decided to go with a guy like Robert Saleh. All gas, no brakes, like it's cut and clean and no filter behind it. That's the reason you go after a guy like Brian Dable is because the proof of concept of what he's done has been positive in this league. As a head coach, not so much. But as a play caller, as somebody that's serious about their craft and has made other players better, you check that box as well. You look at Gus Bradley being a part of this thing too. Like I keep saying the portion of this fan base that's tired of the fluff.
Yeah.
It's starting to see the front office, I think, kind of push that narrative as well. Like, we got to get serious about this being a football organization here. And I don't blame him for feeling that way. In the same way I don't blame Mark for feeling like Cam wasn't good enough to him. It's fair for him to think that way. I got to get this cold out.
The next step for that thought process is not, though, then start Will Levis again.
No,
like,
that's
you
very
can think
true.
Cam wasn't good enough this season. That also doesn't mean you're going back to Will Levis. Those two don't need to be step one and step two.
But for the people that want to see it as black and white, like stats versus stats, talent versus talent, Mark has an argument. Like if he's sitting and having a debate about what one did versus the other in year one, Mark has something to stand on. Is it strong? Is it valid? Is it real because Cam's the number one overall quarterback? No. It's to that side of it as well, it's just not real. Will Levis isn't going to upseat Cam Ward.
No.
The business
There's
ain't
no
gonna
real
allow
competition.
It. But the conversation of comparing one to the other is fair.
Yeah, sure. We got two comments. Like Lonzo writes in, says, so competition isn't healthy? No one said competition isn't healthy. I'm saying that having Will Levis here to, quote, push Cam Ward does nothing for you because no one actually believes that would be a real quarterback competition. No one. Cam Ward is the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. If you had Will Levis there on the field, I don't think it moves the needle at all.
Right.
Cam Ward doesn't need any motivating. There are some quarterbacks, Ramon, that may need somebody to spar with a little bit on the practice field at quarterback behind them. Cam Ward is wired as competitively as any athlete I have ever been around in my life.
Facts. I'll give you that.
So that part of it and the fact that, like, he had a pretty solid end of the season, and he's not going to see Will Levis as a threat to take his job. And even if he did, I just don't really think that is the most important thing for Cam Ward right now. The most important thing for him to do is to learn a new system, develop chemistry with whoever his new receivers are, and develop a working relationship with Brian Dable, who he is very close with. Jay is in Nashville up next. Good morning, Jay.
going on, boys?
Morning.
I want to start off by saying hand up accountability. I was the one that called in last Thursday, and all y'all heard was inside of my truck cab. Then I was on the phone, still up the truck, so hand up right here.
That's all right. It happens.
But then, anyways, moving on to the backup conversation. Yeah, man, I think a pre-draft trade for Will Levis is best. Just get a little more draft capital, never hurts anything. And then I think underrated backup that we could go get is Gardner Minshew. I think he has a ton of good experience, whether that's being a backup or even with some starting reps. I think it'd be a good veteran presence for Cam. Give him some good good, different outlook on the position, and just gives him a little push, a little help, a little veteran assistance. And I think he'd be a great signing. Something to keep the fans excited too.
No doubt.
God forbid he had to come in.
Appreciate it, Jay. Thanks for the call.
Jay.
I'm open to Minshew, sure.
Are you?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I think he's one of the better backup quarterbacks out there.
Minshew. Yeah. I mean, he's non-threatening to me. It'll be fun if he gets in.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Continue your pathway as far as playoff runs.
Mike Forganzi would have obviously been familiar with him, and his old organization had him as backup last year. Yeah, sure. It's fine.
This is a comical conversation. Every time we have it, it becomes this. Every time we have this conversation about Cam or Levis or performance, it comes back to this. Like, the way your job, and specifically a public sport like college football or professional sports in general, like you're judged based upon your performance, right? And that to me is where I feel like we've kind of lost a little bit in the conversation between how Cam is judged or what's real and what's not. Like I am, and I'll be quite honest with you, I'm a show me type of guy. I don't care if it's, man, we're going to hire you for this job. I don't believe it until I actually get it. And when it comes down to like performances and how we're judged based upon how good somebody say we are or how bad somebody say we are, the tape got to show me that you're great. The tape got to show me how good you are. And I think we've lost some of that in this conversation more than I like as a former athlete.
Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports joins us coming up next. Ramona Will rolls on at hour 4, talking Titans this Tuesday morning on a gorgeous day in Midtown Music City. He is Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling, joined by our good friend Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports. He's got a mock draft at atozsports.com that we're going to dive into. Easton, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Easton.
Ramon, Will, how we doing, fellas?
We're good. We've got callers saying that Will Levis was just as good as Cam Ward when he got the chance to start, and that he deserves another opportunity here. So we're having a Tuesday.
Callers plural?
Caller singular, commenters plural on the FNN Big Chat on YouTube. Yes.
Well, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm just going to let that. I'm going to leave that where you. I'll let y'all handle that.
I thought you was willing to be risky, Easton. I thought you was willing to get some out of
That's
this,
well
man.
done.
Come
That's
on.
well done. That's well done. I do want to ask just broad strokes off the top, Easton, and the way that this team manages the quarterback room in 2026. Like, what kind of timeline are we looking at of maybe a Will Levis trade? Like, is this something that has to happen before the draft? Does it has to happen when he's got some preseason tape out there? Like, where are you at on backup quarterback and what Cam Ward needs in that room? Just to, check the box, as this has become quite the conversation this morning.
Well, we talked about this trade thing with Levis so much last offseason, and then he gets the really late surgery. At this point, I'm not sure what the market would be without any new tape of any kind. Even spring practice, somebody slips the practice tape to somebody. Like, any prospective team wanting to spend actual capital on him surely wants to see what he looks like. I'm not sure how or when that can happen.
Right.
And I'm also not sure if the Titans, like, it's a relationship thing to me that's going to dictate when and if they're willing to trade him, because I don't think without tape you're getting the best capital you could get in return for him. But it's all about where their relationship is with him. I don't know what Mike Borgonzi's situation is with him. I don't know what Will Levis's feelings towards the Titans are. I could guess, but I don't know. He is not a bad backup option at all. I would be quite pleased with him as a backup option, but I doubt he is happy to do that. He's going to want to go give it another shot somewhere else. So I think the Titans are going to be moving off of him in some capacity. I really have no feel right now for when that trade will come, but I bet it does. And I think that they'll be shopping for a free agent backup.
Very fair. All right. Quarterback discussion has a bow wrapped on it. Let's talk NFL draft, Easton. You've got Ruben Bain Jr. in your mock draft at atozsports.com to the Tennessee Titans at number 4. I saw where Dan Brugler's got him as his 9th prospect and his initial top 100 at The Athletic this morning. Why Ruben Bain Jr. for you for the Titans at number 4?
Every year when I start my mock draft season, which I tend to wait until after the Super Bowl to do so, I'll do like 3 or 4 versions of this by the time we get to April, and I never quite know where to start because you always want to kind of mix it up, and they become more serious as you go in terms of like the intel. My level of intel for the Titans on this is pretty minimal. It's just general things that I know that they're looking for, but I don't know how they feel about certain players yet. And so I decided to start where star player Jeffrey Simmons asked the Titans to start at Radio Row last week. He said on 104.5, bring me Ruben Bain. So I said, okay, here's Ruben Bain. Let's say that he is who they get. I definitely feel strong. Listen, it's early February. It's dumb to plant your flag on anything yet. I have this giant loudspeaker in my head that is 24/7 screaming edge at 4 or bust just because of the historical implication. If you want a star edge rusher, you have to take them in the first round. That's kind of just how it goes. Roughly 40% of the first round edge rushers that have been taken the past couple of years have turned into really quality players. A number of them turned into stars. We know what the free agent market is every single year at edge, and it is a nursing home for the most part. We know what you're going to find later in the draft at edge, which is nice 2s, nice 3s, usually role players, but you just don't find these breakout star diamond in the roughs unless you go in the first round for a guy. And the Titans have 3 interesting options at the top of the draft who I'm in the process of digging through right now, hoping to write about them soon. I doubt all 3. In fact, I'm almost certain all 3 won't be available at number 4, but at least one or two of them will. And so I think a big conversation is going to be David Bailey versus Ruben Bain. Bain was super productive in college. There's the whole short arms thing, where he's going to line up. Is he a 5? Does he end up being a really nice 3 tech? Is it redundant for what the Titans have with Jeffrey Simmons and Devondre Sweat in the skill set? How does that fit into Robert Saleh's defense? There's a big, long conversation there to be had, but he's going to be a good football player in the NFL. Like, if we just zoom all the way out, I feel very good about Ruben Bain being a very good NFL player. The question is where.
Easton Freeze is joining us this morning talking a little mock draft. Easton, with that being the case, man, picking top 5 and picking a top 5 player means they get off the bus as a walking starter. You almost want to project those dudes as Pro Bowl caliber players, and not just at the quarterback position where everybody gets a chance to be a Pro Bowler, but they got to be effective. What effectiveness does Ruben Bain Jr. have in his game before we get to the negatives?
The number one thing I think of with Ruben Bain is his strength. Like, this dude's farm strong, and he's not a player that wins with speed, although he's not slow. He'll just run through your face. That's a big difference between him and David Bailey. Like, David Bailey's first step is wicked. It's one of the best I've ever seen. Ruben Bain is an outrageously strong player who is capable of running through tight ends, running through tackles. When you stunt him to the inside, he tends to handle the interior offensive linemen. And that's a strength for him both in the pass rush game and the run game, right? It's what makes him a pretty well-rounded player in that way, is that he's able to set an edge. He's able to shed a block and split blockers and get to the backfield. He had a number of tackles for loss this season. A lot of his productiveness in the stat sheet came from him just being stronger than you.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was looking at his tape. When you also look at his tape too, Easton, how many times have you ever seen him get locked out or abused because of the arm length? Because, again, the pre-draft is not about how great you are. Fernando Mendoza's going to go through it as well. What have you seen from his tape as far as the arms being a problem, or is that just a paper thing?
It's a great question, because, like, when you pour through his tape specifically looking for losing due to length, there aren't a lot of glaring instances of this. Now, the length thing, at least on paper, is supposed to become a much bigger issue in the NFL, because he is going up against guys who are also in college. You're getting guys who aren't physically NFL caliber players. I don't know. I had a conversation with some Titans players on Locker Cleanout Day about this, and they all but laughed at me and the draft community for making this such a big deal. It's kind of the attitude that Jeff Simmons had on radio with 3HL last week, where he's like, can you play ball or can you not? And I understand both sides of this. Again, I think Ruben Bain's going to be a really good NFL player. My only question is, where does he line up? Where is he maximized along the line? Is it as a 5 tech or a 3 tech? Can you play him at 7 consistently? I don't think you can play him as a wide 9, but that is not some giant deal breaker necessarily. He's also an outlier. Like, I understand the nerd GM side of this, where if he, like, simply put, since at least the turn of the century, if he comes into the NFL with his sub 31-inch arms and becomes a Pro Bowl or All-Pro edge rusher, he will be the first to do it in almost 30 years. Now, that doesn't mean he can't, but it does mean we don't see guys with this lack of length at edge specifically succeed at the highest level, which is what you want from the 4th overall pick.
Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports, our guest this morning, talking Titans and talking about his mock draft at atozsports.com/Nashville. You have got a couple of Tennessee Volunteers, Easton, in your mock draft. How about this? Colton Hood at 35, and he is someone that you saw in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. What impressed you about Colton Hood, watching him in person, and what are his strengths as they pertain to this Titans team?
Yeah, first mock draft of the season. Why don't we do a little pandering? Have a little fun. Have a little fun. And Colton Hood, by the way, I got a decent amount of grief with this mock yesterday of being like, Colton Hood's not going to be there at 35 and Brazel's not going to be there at 66. And I understand that. I think it's a little early for us to be super definitive on any of these things. But also, when I do these mock drafts, I do it in a simulator, which means that, like, if they're not there, then some other player that went before them in the simulator is there. Like, there's only 34 guys that can go before the Titans pick at 35. So in this one, Colton Hood fell. he's a really, I mean, you guys watched him all year more than I did on Saturdays. He's got what you want in terms of length. He's got what you want in terms of 4.4 speed. He's somebody that's going to meet the Titans' thresholds for size. He took over that lead role for a lot more of the year than we were all expecting, and became one of, if not the most feared cornerbacks in the SEC. He's fluid. He's athletic. Like there's not a whole lot to dislike. The boxes that he doesn't check, like maybe he doesn't have the greatest play strength, but that's not at the top of the list of things that I'm looking for from my cornerback. His missed tackle rate is a little bit higher than you'd like it to be, but he's got a lot going for him.
Easton, it's so interesting on Chris Brazzell, who you've got going to the Titans in the third round, the skill set there and just how different he looks compared to a lot of Tennessee wide receivers. He is such a far departure from Velus Jones Jr. or Jalen Hyatt. He's a little bit closer to Cedric Tillman.
Yes.
But even still, from our perspective as Tennessee people, we had complaints all season of Chris Brazzell can do more. Why are we not asking him to run more in-breaking routes? Because the guy is good with the ball in his hands, but also will show you against Georgia to get some pretty talented defensive backs that he is an outstanding combat catcher as well. What stands out to you about Brazzell, and how do you think he would fit with Cam Ward as a potential option for this Titans team as well?
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned previous Tennessee wide receivers, because as a general rule of thumb, and I'm sorry, Tennessee fans, but this is just the way that it is with Tennessee and frankly with Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss, and now maybe with Lane Kiffin's LSU, we'll see. Like these gimmicky college offenses breed high-level college play, but it doesn't translate super well to the NFL. And at these skill positions in particular, sometimes that transition's really rough. Now, from a size standpoint, you're right. Brazzell could not be any more different from those smaller, speedier guys. He's 6'5", he's 200 pounds. He's going to run sub 4.5 in the 40 at the combine in a couple of weeks. But his usage was kind of strange. And this is part of the intel portion of the offseason. I can't wait to go to Indianapolis and talk to people that have insight on this. Why was he used the way that he was? Did he lack the lateral agility that Tennessee wanted to see for more of the in-breaking, crossing route stuff that you feel like on paper he'd be really good at? Why was it that his contested catch rate wasn't better than it was? I see a lot of upside with this guy, and when you're picking in the third round, you're wanting a guy that's going to contribute, no doubt, but you're starting to creep into, okay, well, what's the best that this guy can give me? And that's starting to tempt you into maybe taking some riskier picks. And I don't think Brazzell's some risky pick by any means. In fact, I think he'll be probably gone before this pick too, but we'll have to see how it shakes out. There just aren't many guys in this draft class who have the physical size combination with the speed and athleticism that he has. And if the right coach in the NFL can get their hands on him and refine that athleticism, I think he could be a really good receiver.
Easton Freeze with us. Easton, that's the other part too I noticed in your mock draft. The first version of it is 2 cornerbacks, 2 wide receivers. That is, this roster is just depleted of high caliber guys like this. How strategic do they have to be as far as honestly being right, Easton, this year on those picks? Because you're dealing with this rookie contract that you don't want to be continually paying expensive wide receivers or cornerbacks, and the draft has to hit, man. And this year in particular, I think the wide receiver and cornerback position has to hit ASAP.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because this, from a philosophy standpoint, was the biggest thing I wanted to get across with this mock. You can only control what you can control. And you say, well, you have to get this right. Well, the draft is a crapshoot.
It is.
No matter how incredible you are, the greatest GM of all time is still flipping a coin for the most part on the draft. And that's at the very, very best. It's really like first round picks are a coin flip. And then your odds decrease. They really fall off a cliff as you go through the rounds. What you can control is maximizing your odds by doubling and tripling down. And so I'm a massive proponent of doubling down at premium positions of need in particular. We know the Titans have 3 glaring ones: cornerback, edge, and receiver. And generally speaking, I kind of like the approach of, okay, spend your most premium pick, 4th overall, on one of those positions, probably edge in my opinion, and then double down with a combination of draft and free agency at the other two positions to get it right. We saw the Titans do this in the 4th round last year with receiver. When you get a pair of guys at the same position from the same draft class and you kind of throw them into their room and you break the pool cue over your knee and you throw it to them and you say, hey, figure it out. One of you go win. Your odds increase. Like this is math. If you have a 30% chance on hitting on your 3rd round receiver, but you draft a 3rd round and a 4th round receiver, whatever it may be, your odds multiply. And so I just really like doubling down. I think the Titans have the spread of needs to be able to do that, because as much as you want to double down, you also have to let the good process is to let the board dictate who you're taking and not let your needs dictate who you're taking. I guess luckily for the Titans, they have so many needs that you can usually take the best player available and it will fit something that you need on your roster.
So it's kind of where I want to go as far as the need. I know we're here to talk mock draft, but what do you do with Calvin Ridley? Speaking of wide receivers, it don't hurt you, but
right.
What has he done for you to keep him?
Well, that's a good question. He is on a contract.
Yeah.
He's been undeniably disappointing through his first 2 years. Everybody understands that. And if I'm putting my reporter hat on, I don't have a good feel on whether or not they're going to part ways or keep him. Like I'm not sure what they're going to do. I think that there is some interest in the building in keeping him around. I just pulled up his contracts. The team has him under contract for 2 more years, but they have that out after 2 years, $48 million. They would only take $13 million in dead cap if they moved on this offseason. If they don't move on, he'll be a $26 million cap hit next year. He'll be owed a significant chunk of that. I don't know if they keep him, if they would renegotiate or restructure the contract, maybe add some dummy years at the end to get that cap hit number lower. Frankly, they wouldn't necessarily have to because they have so much cap room to burn. Maybe this is a part of how you burn that. I would keep him because of how much room you have and because of when he's healthy, what he can do for your team. I do think we kind of forget what he was at times early in this season, not what you need him to be. Like I think about that Arizona game and a couple of massive downfield catches that he made. The Titans have some promising young players on their receiving core, but outside of Calvin Ridley, they have nobody that can reliably beat press. And Calvin isn't great at it, but his speed does allow him to separate in a way these other guys aren't necessarily doing consistently. So I would keep him probably.
Yeah.
But I don't have a feel either way. If you move on, then you need at least a pair of guys that you add to that room that has a chance to start, don't you think?
Absolutely. But that's the reason I brought up him, because he can have an impact on where you choose to draft.
Well, it's kind of like the George Pickens, DK Metcalf thing with the Steelers. Like you kind of take one step forward, but then you also take one step back because you add somebody, but you also subtracted a really good player too.
Right.
I think we'll have a much better feel for what the Titans think in the next 2 or 3 weeks, with the combine on the horizon, with some conversations that I'm expecting to be had. I think we'll get a better feel for where they're at, and that'll dictate the rest of our offseason.
No doubt.
Love it. Always good having Easton Freeze back on the program at Easton Freeze on Twitter, talking Titans, A2ZSports.com. Appreciate you as always, Easton. Thanks so much.
Easton.
Anytime, guys. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Easton Freeze with us this morning. Successfully lured him into one answer on Will Levis, but
and got an extra bonus with the Calvin Ridley.
Not here to talk about that, and I respect it. Coming up, some Nashville SC news this morning. Breaking story there that we'll dive into as we wrap up the show. Coming up next. Wrapping up the show on your Tuesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. More to come today and, of course, tomorrow morning from us. At Ramon and Will on Twitter, curling in an hour and 10 minutes. Gold medal match. As a curling fan since lunch yesterday, this is a really big day for me.
It is. It's going to be huge. If I can, I'm going to tune in to that one because I think it's worth to watch it. If you didn't watch it last night, it was electric watching them compete. Banging rocks like that. I thought it was super cool.
Banging rocks.
That's what I want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it's fun because these people, like I said, there's not much of a payout in what this is. It's purely competitive, and you watching them yell and scream and sweep the ice and everything else. It's a cool sport to watch.
Breaking story from Nashville Soccer Club this morning. 1 week away from the start of their 2026 season and the CONCACAF Champions Cup against Athletic Ottawa next week, next Tuesday night. Nashville SC has transferred midfielder Jonathan Perez to Chivas for a club record fee. Ben Wright of 615 Soccer reporting they've received $3 million for Jonathan Perez, who they acquired from the LA Galaxy back in August for $1.5 million in cash. Big money coming back to Nashville Soccer Club as they put the finishing touches on their roster. And Ramon, we're going to talk a lot of soccer throughout this season and follow this team closely. They are going to be really fun. They now have more in their war chest to add as the final 7 days tick off the clock, and 10 days, really, until MLS play starts next Saturday at home against the New England Revolution on the 21st. But $3 million for a young midfielder who scored 2 goals last season in 32 appearances. Good business from Nashville Soccer Club this morning.
And what's unique, too, is Nashville Soccer Club is currently the most winning program right now in the city. And I think it's important to highlight them because that fan base is growing. I see people all the time posting the jerseys or just the support of Nashville SC, man. And you cover it, Lucas covered it, and we've gone to games. Like it's a good time to be. If you're not a fan of Nashville SC, better jump in now before it gets hot, the way you tried to do with the Preds.
No doubt. This is the time to jump on the bandwagon or jump on the train, whatever you want to call it. It is going to be a really, really fun season, and looking forward to talking a lot more about them this season. Perez, a good winger. I think someone that certainly fit the system and just always had a lot of value from Liga MX and top flight Mexican clubs.
Yeah.
With him as a Mexican youth international, meaning he's played for their youth teams and youth setup. That is a league that will offer top dollar for their own.
Yeah.
And so he always was going to have that opportunity with that kind of always being in mind when you brought him in from LA and when you had him part of this roster. And the day that offer came maybe more quickly than we expected. And so, I think that it's a really, really good move for Nashville. And I think that with Christian Espinoza coming over from San Jose, that's a name you're going to hear a lot of this season. They added the top free agent on the MLS free agency list this offseason. And a player that, according to multiple reports, was accidentally not extended by his previous team. Landon Donovan went on a podcast and said the paperwork wasn't turned in to exercise his contract option. Otherwise, he would still be a member of the San Jose Earthquakes.
Wow.
So you are bringing in one of the best attackers in MLS to play on the wing with Hani Mukhtar, with Sam Surridge. You've got one of the best front lines in Major League Soccer. And you're talking about Nashville being right up there with the likes of Cincinnati and Columbus and the perennial Eastern Conference teams that are going to be the top competition for Messi and Miami, who have also reinforced their roster this offseason.
And we're about 3 weeks away from the start of it.
Next week.
First kick?
We're 1 week away from the start of it.
From first kick?
And then 11. Yes, I see what you're doing there. 11 days away from the first MLS game, which we will have for you right here on the Zone next Saturday night. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, no doubt. Should be fun. I'm going to get out there, man, and see if I can see you doing your thing.
Anytime. It'll be so fun this year, man. I'm excited. The offseason flies by. The championship was 2 months ago, and we're here.
It's nonstop. Are they more long-lasting than football, basketball?
It's the shortest offseason in American sports, yeah.
Because of the lack of contact?
No, we could go into a much larger philosophical discussion on why the offseason's so short. It's just the way soccer is. I don't know if it's, part of it, I guess, is lack of contact, but soccer players would argue, like, well, we are running 7 miles a game, though, at times. So, it's just a sport that doesn't have a lot of off time the way it's currently constructed. And they did have to move the season up a week because of the World Cup, because they're going to take a break during the World Cup. So you're condensed on either side of the World Cup, the same way hockey has a condensed schedule this year on either side of the Olympics.
Gotcha.
Watching Olympics today? We're locked in on curling and what else?
I got a little work to do midday, but yeah, absolutely. I'll be tuned into it for sure. Come in with a little knowledge on banging rocks.
I think they're called stones. So you're
Are they
not
stones?
far
They're
off.
called stones, yeah.
Are they granite?
I mean, this is what it looks like.
Now, so you've opened up a bag of worms.
Why don't you Google it? You got your Google machine in front of you.
Well, we're about to end this show. You play the music. I'm
got
not
a
about
minute
to
and a
do
half.
no more work.
You can be
Buck's outside the door. As soon as his iPad start to close.
Don't take his research on curling for granted.
Exactly. All right. I'm going to come in here tomorrow with all kind of facts and conversation. We're going to call Mark again, get him on the call.
Don't take the rocks. Don't take the rocks for granted.
No, do not take the rocks for granted, man. What are you talking about?
just went right over your
like
head.
like granite as a rock.
Because we're off work right now, okay? As soon as I see
Ramon
Buck
is
in the
not
door,
being paid to laugh at my jokes any longer today.
There's your music, Ramon.
Coming up tomorrow morning, Rhett Bryan will join us. Talk some college football. You know the deal. 6 a.m. Back at it tomorrow.
Absolutely. But remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.